Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The Super Blue 3 abuse Champa at the start, participate in the power conference. Chapter 1. I'm really sorry, Captain. I went with hope, but ended up failing, disappointing you. Huh, what did you say? Even you lost. Gabe, what's going on? There's hit among you, and it's all defeated. The warriors of the 7th universe, so strong. In a humble house, exclamations came from it. After attracting the attention of a person outside the house, just a few seconds later, the person pretended that nothing had happened, and continued to close his eyes and meditate. Inside the room, another voice sounded, "Yeah, Captain. I didn't expect that Saiyan also existed in the 7th universe, and they seem to have mastered a more brilliant transformation than Super Saiyan. My power is in front of them, it's not worth mentioning at all." Words, slightly lost. The house also became silent. Soon, two people came out of the house. Lenzo and Gabe. Saiyan of the 6th universe. Their faces were heavy, and they walked straight to the man who closed his eyes and meditated. With an embarrassed smile on Lien Suo's face, Gabe on the side, with a serious expression, stood obediently and remained calm. "That, brother-in-law, did you hear it just now? What do you think?" Lien Suo squinted his eyes and said after a wretched laugh. Hearing the sound, Birgit opened one eye slightly and glanced at it, then closed her eyes. "Brother-in-law or something, that is, you said, I didn't promise to be with your sister. This is also related to you've said it many times." Saying that, Birgit continued to pretend to be doing nothing and taking care of herself. These words, with a sense of ridicule, made Lien Suo even more embarrassed, and Gabe on the side was ashamed. For Gabe, Birgit, it's still the same. Never changed. Although I came back some time ago, it was just a passing scene, trying to invite Birgit to participate in the martial arts conference with the 7th universe. After Birgit refused, he left the planet Sarada without much contact. So to sum up, it has been a year since the last time we really communicated. Birgit has always been decades from when they met until now. And he didn't have the right to ask Birgit what to do, and he didn't have the ability. Moreover, people are the real strong. Even the transformation of Super Saiyan was developed by others. I haven't seen you for a year, brother. Birgit is still the same as before, nothing has changed. Gabe said with an awkward laugh. Birgit didn't take this kind of conversation seriously at all, but she opened her eyes and took a closer look at him. "I haven't changed, you know." "I see, you really haven't changed at all. Leave the planet Sarada. It's been a year, and instead of improving my skills, there are still signs of regression." The comments words said, and Birgit stood up. "What are you talking about with him?" This time the 6th universe and 7th universe martial arts conference, he knew before it was held. Moreover, Gabe did take the initiative to invite him. At that time, he was also ruthlessly rejected. In his words, there is absolutely no need to participate. Even if you can meet the protagonists of the original work, it doesn't mean much. Not to mention, there will be a full universe power conference after that, and we will meet sooner or later, so why rush for a while? As a traveler. That's right, Birgit is a traveler. It has been 30 years since he came to this world through time. In the past 30 years, I have continued to cultivate and become stronger. Until now, his strength has already surpassed gods of destruction completely. The so-called, the 6th universe is the strongest. This is not just talk. At least Birgit is confident enough to beat Champa, the weakest gods of destruction, without going all out. Facing Gabe, Birgit looked serious. To be honest, Gabe is not too young. He looks young, but in fact he is 20. At this age, it is reasonable to say that maintaining a unit in Beijing is not bad. However, in this era, under his guidance, it is really wasteful. You must know that when Gabe was 10 years old, Birgit gave him the way to transform into Super Saiyan. It has been 10 years, and it is still only in the Super 1 full power stage, and he has not even reached the Super 2. In Birgit's words, this kid is used to being at ease. "I thought that my strength was awesome, but in fact, it was just okay in the 6th universe. I'm really sorry to disappoint you. However, after this experience, I did have a breakthrough in Super Saiyan's transformation. Moreover, that master really helped me to break through," Gabe said. The first half of the sentence is apologetic. However, he didn't think he was really that bad. At least, this time, he really broke through the limit of the martial arts conference. He thought Birgit couldn't see it, but in fact, Birgit saw it at a glance. And the second half of his sentence really made Birgit collapse. What do you mean, that master really helped him break through? Didn't he teach him? Didn't he really treat him? After eating a little sweetness from outsiders, you forgot your book. Really, so you're confident enough to face me now? Squinting his eyes tightly, the pressure brought by Birgit made Gabe sweaty. Is Birgit stingy? Of course stingy. In particular, he had indeed instructed this kid seriously. No, Birgit-san. Gabe was frightened. He didn't even know that his casual remarks would arouse Birgit's dissatisfaction. And he actually just said it casually from his heart. In his opinion, the Vegeta of the 7th universe is really very similar to this one. He also told Vegeta over there in the arena of the martial arts conference. Gabe seemed to be retreating, and Birgit felt bored, and said simply, "Humph. Even if you put all your strength into it, you won't be able to touch even a single hair on me." After the words fell, Birgit stopped looking at him. Frankly speaking, this kid is boring. He fought in universe with the belief of maintaining world peace, and he knew that this kid was actually a coward. With enough strength, he will appear very brave and will take on anything. But when the strength is insufficient, it completely reveals the true heart. This is the case in the original book. Birgit also wanted to train him well, but what does this kid say? Looking back a lot, just like Kling in the 7th universe, he always has all kinds of thoughts and hesitant to do anything. Mindfully crushed by Birgit, Gabe became more and more aggrieved and blushed. Only when facing Birgit did he do this. The master in his mind was also one of his few elder brothers. That brother-in-law. Seeing this situation, Lien Suo on the side knew that he should speak. He just said this title, and he was interrupted by Birgit before he started talking about the business. I said, don't call my brother-in-law. I've reminded you many times about this. Even Suo, you don't need to say anything more. Frankly speaking, about the 7th universe, it has nothing to do with us, right? Birgit's performance made Lien Suo embarrassed for a while. Then I had to say, it's irrelevant, but, sister. Birgit, although it's from 2 universes, but the opposite is also Saiyan, you really don't have any ideas. Lien Suo's questioning made Birgit silently shake her head, fold her arms and look up at the sky. After being silent for a long time, he said, what if they are both Saiyans? They are them, we are us. I did listen to your conversation before. Saiyan of the 7th universe has mastered a more intelligent transformation, right? Are you envious? Care? The blatant remarks made Lien Suo and Gabe embarrassed and even more ashamed. Indeed, they think so. Because in their opinion, it does seem that Saiyan of the 7th universe is better now. Feeling the psychological reactions of the two, Birgit sneered disdainfully, and then said, this kind of stupid idea, but only the weak can have it. Gabe has it, I'm not surprised, why do you even have it? As Saiyan, we have the same possibility. Since I created Super Saiyan's transformation back then, have you worked hard to cultivate, or surpass the limit? Saying that, Birgit lowered her head and looked at Leonzo and Gabe sideways. You are content with the status quo, so you have seen a more brilliant transformation, you can't believe it. I even feel that you are completely compared by Saiyan of the 7th universe. For you, they really have a more powerful transformation, a more terrifying power. But for me, that's all. On the long road of cultivation, I have been working hard to move forward, and I have been working hard to innovate. And until today, the power I have mastered, if you see it, I am afraid it will make them horrified. You don't know how to innovate, and you don't know how to accept new things. Therefore, you have always been bound by routines and cannot be detached. After some long-winded commentary, Birgit said this from the bottom of her heart. If it was someone else, he would definitely be too lazy to talk so much nonsense. That is to say, after the time travel came, Lien Suo was Saiyan of his peer, and the relationship between the two had always been very good. Gabe was regarded as a junior who grew up, so he would take it seriously. So, Brother Birgit, have you already mastered a higher transformation? That Super Saiyan blue color? Gabe asked suddenly, summoning up his courage. Lien Suo on the side concentrated, waiting for Birgit's accurate answer. Super Saiyan blue color, hee. Saiyan from the 7th universe does have a set, but this form is already outdated in my opinion. If they only have this level, they are not enough to see in front of me. I said it when I gave you Super Saiyan's transformation. Super Saiyan is definitely not only one stage. Super Saiyan blue color is just a route where Saiyan has advanced to a certain level. Looking at Gabe, Birgit said somberly. Some words have already been explained, but it is not completely necessary to tell them. If a person really depends on others to become stronger, he will always be weak. Birgit can lead the way, but never tell anyone the path he's taken, or the possibilities ahead. Just like, everyone has their own way to go. Super Saiyan blue color is outdated. Brother Birgit, you. Gabe was shocked because of Birgit's words, and then he thought of the meaning of the second half of the sentence, and said, different stages, haven't we all reached the limit? Also, this time, I really broke through the limit, and reached the second level of Super Saiyan that the 7th universe Saiyan said. However, until now, I can't feel the Super Saiyan blue color at all. Realm, do you have to break through the second level of Super Saiyan to transform into Super Saiyan blue? He didn't understand at all, and his thoughts bound him, making him think that Saiyan of the 7th universe was superior. Birgit was troubled by Gabe's words. He couldn't help but put his hand on his forehead. Forget it, it's useless to talk too much. Come on, you've come back to the planet Sarada this time, shouldn't there be something else? Changing the subject, Birgit didn't want to say more. As for showing it in front of Gabe, it's totally unnecessary. In the future, there will be opportunities for this kid to be eye-opening. Moreover, once a person has doubts, especially a kid like Gabe, if he does not need reality to make him understand, it is useless to simply see. Hearing this, Gabe finally reacted, while Lien Suo by the side looked at Gabe dumbly. I didn't say anything about it before. Looking at Gabe's expression, Lien Suo guessed that there was indeed something else going on. Actually, I came back to planet Sarada so quickly this time to tell Captain Lien Suo and Brother Birgit that this competition with the 7th universe caught the attention of Grand Priest and Zeno. After some explanation, Gabe not only explained the situation, but also introduced the Grand Priest and Zeno. Thus, let Lance and Birgit know what will happen in the next period of time. Of course, Birgit has known it for a long time. After all, he is also a traveler anyway and knows all the plot process. So, Gabe, when you came back this time, Lord Gods of Destruction and Lord Angel suggested that Birgit and I participate in the future power conference of the universe. Lien Suo said in shock. All universe power conference. This is no joke. Although the 6th universe is not like the 7th universe, it has so much understanding of the world, but it involves the power conference of the 12 universes, which is not as simple as a test between the two universes. Yes, it's an advance notice. After all, it's what Lord Champa and Lord Vados meant, so I can only convey it. As for whether or not to participate, it's up to Captain Lienzo and Brother Birgit. Gabe nodded and said. Hearing such words, Lien Suo frowned, feeling a lot of panic in her heart. Birgit sneered. I'm afraid it's not as simple as you said. Gabe. Birgit's words made Lien Suo divert his attention. Gabe also smiled awkwardly, cold sweat dripping down his face. Actually, what Lord Champa really means is that if Captain Lienzo and Brother Birgit don't listen to his orders to participate in the competition, then there is no need for the 6th universe to continue to exist. The words fell, and the atmosphere became a little weird. If you don't participate, you will be ruined. It is equivalent to this game of gods. If mortals are disobedient, there is no need to survive. It's really in line with Gods of Destruction's behavior, but he's too self-righteous. I have to say, Gabe, you are now a messenger. If we refuse, how will you report it to Champa? Birgit mysteriously smiled. This rhetorical question made Gabe even more embarrassed. In the final analysis, he hopes that Lien Suo and Birgit can participate in the power conference, and also earn a little face for Saiyan of the 6th universe. Otherwise, he would never recommend it. If Lin Suo and Birgit really don't want to participate, then if they lose the game, universe will also be destroyed. So, he is also betting, believing that Lin Suo and Birgit will give in. If both of you, Captain and Brother Birgit, are unwilling to participate, I can only report truthfully. But Captain and Brother, you shouldn't be the kind of people who can't be saved. This conference involves the survival of the universe. If you lose now, the entire universe will be destroyed, and even gods of destruction will not be spared. Gabe played some emotional cards, which made Lien Suo think deeply. What about Birgit? He narrowed his eyes now. Just as he thought, this kid Gabe, who seems to be very smart, has actually become a pawn in the hands of others. This is reflected in the original one-sidedly. How big is the sixth universe? How could there be only a few of them who were masters on the table? This should have been Champa's task, and it was Gods of Destruction and Supreme Kai's job, but Gabe took it down and took the initiative to recommend his companions to participate in the power conference. Although it was an experience for Caulifla and Kaylee later, it was a good thing. But to be honest, if there is no final recovery of universe, Gabe will be a sinner. Moreover, as far as Birgit knows now, there are more than a few masters who exist in the pure sixth universe. It is indeed one of the powerhouses in the sixth universe, almost invincible, and it is impossible for ordinary people to crack it. But there are also strong men who can compare to it. As far as Birgit is sure, there are 3 people who are comparable or even stronger. The so-called power conference is, after all, a show. The angels have already known the result, so they are just random assistants, not really recommending to gods of destruction. This can also be seen from the 7th universe. All the players are from the Earth. Even if they are not all Earthlings, they are inseparable from the Z warriors, so is Frieza. Logically speaking, the 7th universe really can't find a stronger character like Piccolo Lin Tien Jinfen. Selling feelings is sold to the point that even Master Roshi will appear. Gabe, although I intend to participate in the power conference and do my part for our universe. But you also know that in my situation, I only have one leg left. Even if I participate in the competition, it will only be yours. Cumbersome, Lien Suo said actively. This time, if there is no leg problem, he will definitely participate in the competition between the 6th universe and the 7th universe. Now I can't even participate in this tournament, let alone a power conference. Hearing Lien Suo's words, Gabe showed a hint of sadness, and frankly speaking, this was also within his expectations. And what he did is nothing more than pretending. After all, Lien Suo is his captain, and he is also a very strong fighting force in the 6th universe Saiyan. Captain, you don't have to do this. Although you can't participate in the competition, I will definitely inherit your spirit. Gabe's answer completely betrayed his original intention at the beginning. Lien Suo nodded without thinking too much. Birgit is different. So, your purpose this time is to come for me, right? You already know about Lien Suo's situation, and your purpose is to let me participate in the power conference. The words came out, and Gabe nodded again embarrassedly. Lien Suo, who was on the side, was obviously not completely deceived, and guessed Gabe's plan, but he still said with help, Barrett, Gabe is also the junior of us old people anyway, you will make a shot. Over the years, you have been cultivating, and now you are stronger than we imagined. Even if you want to be the strongest in our universe, it's not a problem, right? It's a fact and a compliment. Hearing this, Birgit rolled her eyes. You're going to call people, stay away, and leave the responsibility on me. The disdainful words came out, and Birgit looked at Gabe again. While staring, Gabe didn't dare to say anything. Suppressed by Birgit's aura, he was sweating profusely, and his heart was empty. It's not impossible to participate in the power tournament. But it's not you who invited me, understand? If you really want me to play, then let Gods of Destruction and Angel come to see me in person. I won't help others for free work. Squinting, Birgit wouldn't give in easily. I agreed to play casually, but in the end I got nothing. Hearing Birgit's words, Lenzo was relieved. He knew who Birgit was, so he knew it was a disguised consent. Gabe, then you can invite Lord Gods of Destruction and Lord Angel to come. After all, this is about the future of our 6th universe. Lien Suo said. For this sake, Gabe had no choice but to nod. It's just that he can't think of it now. What is Birgit going to do? Because for him, to participate is to participate, not to participate is not to participate. Why should there be more troubles? If Birgit knew about his thoughts, he would have to be reprimanded. Therefore, his so-called efforts over the years, the so-called maintenance of universe peace, is nothing but a waste of effort. It seems that a lot has been done and a lot has been gained, but in fact there is nothing. I understand, then I'll leave first. After all, there are still a few people to look for. In addition, I want Califla to also participate in the conference. Seeing Gabe fly away, Birgit and Lenzo regained their minds. The two have their own thoughts, and during the time when Gabe left, they did not stop or say anything. Birgit has Birgit's mind, especially part of it that will never be exposed. Lien Suo was different. When Gabe left, he couldn't help but say, "This kid Gabe seems to have changed a lot, what do you think?" Birgit. The words said, Birgit on the side still maintained her previous posture. It has indeed changed. I have become a little more assertive, and I know how to calculate others. After a casual remark, Birgit was just about to change the subject. Lien Suo added, "Although this transformation is a good thing and a sign of maturity, it is indeed a little emotional to see this boy become like this." The former Gabe was a very simple boy. Saying that, Lien Suo's face showed a look of nostalgia for the past. Seeing this, Birgit smiled and said, "What is there to say now? Everyone has their own path, and his future is different from ours. So, we just need to be ourselves. As for he still needs practice." That's right. Frankly speaking, Gabe is more and more like his father back then. Lien Suo's words were meaningful. Compared to his father, this kid is nowhere near as good. With a casual response, Birgit walked back to the stone she had made earlier. Seeing that Birgit didn't want to discuss Gabe's issue, Lien Suo stepped forward, walking and talking. "Speaking of which, since you intend to participate in the All-Universe Power Conference, why did you ask Lord Gods of Destruction and Lord Angel to see you? What? In my mind, you're not the kind of person who can beat around the bush." Birgit has always been a straightforward person. Even Suo couldn't guess, and was very curious. Hearing this, Birgit narrowed her eyes. "About this matter, you will know soon." "Ah, are you sure that Lord Gods of Destruction and Lord Angel will come to see you?" Lien Suo was embarrassed and asked. "It's not a certainty, it's a certainty," Birgit said, knowing that he still cared, and said again, "As a god and angel, they would never take the initiative to care about a mortal. However, Gabe took the initiative to invite me, then I must know my specialness, and Gabe will convey my wishes when I go back this time, so as a god and angel, I must be angry, after all, I am despising their majesty." As he explained, cold sweat broke down on Lien Suo's face. Birgit said that as if it were indeed the case. After trying to understand, Lien Suo was even more worried. What exactly was Birgit's plan? He didn't know, but he knew that if it wasn't handled properly, Gods of Destruction wouldn't be so easy to talk about. Knowing Lien Suo's worries, Birgit smiled slightly and took the initiative to change the subject. "Compared to caring about Gabe and me, you don't worry about your sister's accident. Gabe, but you still want to invite Califra to participate in the power conference. Hey, I'm not too worried about this. After all, you will definitely participate, right? With you here, my sister will naturally be fine." With a wretched smile, Lien Suo's expression was extraordinarily speechless. Birgit sighed and said nothing. Frankly speaking, Birgit really didn't have much thought for Califla's words. Love and guidance from childhood, plus constant contact over the years, almost living together. So it creates an illusion for others. In Birgit's words, at least he has been in this world for more than 30 years, and Califra can be considered as he has grown up. Although Califla had always been behind his ass when she was a child, she had a deep relationship, and she always had close contact with her when she grew up, but Birgit's affection for her was more affection than love. Even if Califla is really beautiful, she is much more mature than the model she used to read the original book, but no matter what, she is a little girl. Birgit is not the kind of person who is hungry, especially the people around him, the most difficult to start. Birgit has also been alone for so many years. It's not that no one pursues it, and it's not that there isn't a woman who wants to get it. When I first came to the 6th universe, my own survival was a problem. It was not peaceful back then. Unlike these years, the situation was controllable. The universe was also very peaceful, and it was a thriving scene. If this is to travel to the 7th universe, at least the beauty that appeared in the original book. Bulma, Chi-Chi, Lanchi, number 18, don't even try to run. ... Leaving the top of Longji Mountain, Gabe galloped all the way towards the largest city on the planet Sarada. Come back to the planet Sarada and deliver the news of the Congress of Power. One is to invite Birget to participate, and the other is Caulifla, the leader of Saiyan. After the match with the 7th universe, he wanted to let Saiyan of his universe also get on a bigger stage. On the one hand, it is not inferior to Saiyan from the 7th universe. On the other hand, it can also take the opportunity to let Saiyan from the 7th universe know more Saiyan from the 6th universe. What should I say? Brother Birget, if you let Lord Champa know about it, you will definitely be angry. Caulifla's words are really fooling. As long as Brother Birget participates, she will definitely participate. Bay is distressed. It was nothing to do, but the words have already been said, and even if he didn't say it, Gods of Destruction Champa and Angel Vados would definitely ask. Forget it, take one step at a time. After all, there is no confirmation yet whether the competition will be held or not. Now we are just preparing in advance. While talking to himself, Gabe accelerated his speed. In a blink of an eye, he once again crossed a distance of hundreds of miles. At this very moment, the Earth of the 6th universe. Gods of Destruction Champa and Angel Vados are enjoying today's lunch in a corner here. Because of the game with the 7th universe, even if he lost the game, Gods of Destruction Beerus restored the universe of this universe in order to help Champa. However, to the disappointment of Champa and Vados, the Earth of this universe is obviously different from the Earth of the 7th universe. Not only is there no better food, but the planet is dilapidated, and most of its vitality has long been lost. Even though there are still people on Earth, because people on Earth are robbing resources, wars are taking place everywhere on the planet, and there are very few places of peace. This is the Earth of our 6th universe. Hey, Vados, did you make a mistake? Or is that guy Beerus fooling me? Interest, but no appetite at all. This is also inevitable, because the things in front of you, in addition to clear soup and white porridge, are dry bread, and it would be strange if this can arouse the appetite of Gods of Destruction. Frankly speaking, it was also the arrival of Champa and Vados, who spent a lot of money so they could eat these foods. For the people of this universe, such food is undoubtedly a luxury. Only a small number of people can enjoy it. In the simplest terms, even if this planet has recovered, it is still on the verge of doomsday, and all kinds of resources are scarce, especially food. Well, Lord Champa, this planet is indeed the Earth restored by our 6th universe. It's just that there is a huge gap between this planet and the Earth in the 7th universe. As I said at the beginning, this planet is due to resource plunder, so it will lead to the demise of mankind and the loss of life of the planet. Even if it recovers now, if there is no good treatment and development, it will still be destroyed. Vados sat on the side, holding the angel scepter in one hand, while watching the food on the table. Frankly speaking, she should have told Champa earlier, because she was greedy and had to come to see it, and now she is disappointed. Humph. That said, even if the Earth of our universe is restored, it is still far from the 7th universe. Sure enough, the Earth of the 7th universe is the planet I want. Champa crossed his chest viciously, said in disbelief. This kind of performance left Vados speechless and only smiled bitterly. This master, as always, has nothing to say. Originally, the Earth of the 7th universe was used as a bet to win the competition, and that Earth could be transferred to the 6th universe. There's nothing to do if you lose the game. What Mr. Champa should consider now is to find other experts in our universe as soon as possible. After all, Mr. Zeno intends to hold the All-Universe Power Conference, and this matter should be gone. Vados suggested. As Angel, she knows a lot of things that will happen in the future. The Universal Power Conference is bound to be held, but it is only the form and rules of the holding, and you have to see what it will be like. About this matter, didn't that Saiyan kid Gabe ask Ying to say that there is a suitable candidate? And he was the guy who refused the order of this god last time. If you don't tell me, I even forgot about him and despised me, the gods of the majesty of destruction. He grabbed the bread on the table and took a bite. He threw it directly on the table. There was a gurgling sound in the stomach, obviously too hungry. Originally, I came to Earth to taste delicious food, so I didn't eat anything for a day, but it turned out to be this kind of food. Lord Champa thinks that Gabe is reliable, although the Birget he mentioned is indeed interesting and seems to have some strength. Not caring about Champa's behavior, Vados stood up and said. The two walked out of this seemingly okay hotel in tandem. After they left, the waiter rushed forward to clean up. For ordinary people like them, it is a great gift to be able to get some leftovers from the hands of the guests. In particular, Champa's behavior was unmistakably bad food, not eating much at all. Also, it's cheaper for them. Of course, they only do it sneakily, after all, these foods are valuable. Boutique bread and fresh porridge soup, only the best can enjoy. Walking on the streets of the earth, the malaise was unbearable for Champa. Let's go Vados, I'm not in the mood to stay on this earth anymore. As he said that, Champa was about to fly away. At this moment, a group of people poured out from the corner and circled Champa and Vados around. The person in the lead was a strong bald man with tattoos all over his body. Beside him was a thin man with sharp-mouthed monkey cheeks, and he just raised his hand and pointed. It's them, Black Boss, I don't know where they came from, but they have a lot of gold in their hands. Oh, is that the two of them? Animal-type human beings, but I haven't seen each other for many years. There is also a woman with a sign, not bad. Your information today is worth rewarding, and I will go to Kutu to receive the 10-day boutique in a while. Food. Boss Hay was very happy. Not only is there gold to get your hands on, but there is also an animal human. On the earth of this sixth universe, there are also animal-type human beings, but they have always been raised as slaves by human beings and provided to the superior people to play with. This fat cat is a golden mountain in his eyes. After all, animal-type humans disappeared and became extinct 20 years ago. And the woman on the side, with his experience, has never seen such a beautiful woman. Allah, Lord Champa, we seem to be targeted by the humans of this earth. They seem to want to take us as their own. Vados put his hand to his mouth and snickered. To know that such a thing can be said to have never happened, it can be considered strange, and the people of the sixth universe dare to be rude to them. Of course, Vados understands that it is impossible for the humans of this planet to know them, so it is understandable to do such a thing. To sum up, the greed and desire of the people on Earth are very strong, and they want to take all the good things for themselves. However, she doesn't care, and doesn't want to care about ants, but Champa is not the kind of god who will pretend that nothing happened. Of all the gods of destruction, Champa is definitely number one in terms of stinginess and lack of measure. Humph, are you embarrassed to laugh? The existence of such a planet is simply an insult to me. It's better to blow it up. With disdain, Champa's eyes were filled with anger. Is gods of destruction something mortals can play with? Hearing these words, the bald-headed crowd began to riot. The words of ridicule and greed kept coming out, obviously it was impossible to imagine what fate awaited them. Champa was furious. In his words, gods of destruction has been the sixth universe for more than 10 billion years. Where have you been provoked and ignored like this? So, boom, a muffled sound shook the space. The universe space is like a fireworks set off, which is extraordinarily dazzling and beautiful. The earth of the sixth universe was destroyed again. It's just that this destruction is a complete destruction. Before, there was still a Death Star body. In the universe space, Champa, who destroyed the earth, was still furious and furious. Exasperated, he continuously launched energy attacks in one breath, smashing all the surrounding planets. That's it, it's a little bit of a sigh of relief. The galaxy solar system of the sixth universe, just because of Champa, was completely annihilated and ceased to exist. Thanks to these planets are not life planets, otherwise, I don't know how many lives will be buried in the hands of gods of destruction. Beside gods of destruction Champa, Vados watched silently the whole time, without stopping or doing anything. For Vados, this has happened too many times to count. As Angel, she is only a disguised supervisor, never restricting the behavior of gods of destruction. After all, the existence of gods of destruction is for destruction. And a planet like the Earth is a civilization that has come to an end, and the result is the same whether it is destroyed or not. Master Champa should be relieved by now. If it is, let's go to other planets to find new food. Speaking of which, Master Champa should be exercising properly. After a few moments, Master Champa is out of breath. Seeing Champa panting with his hands on his hips, Vados joked with a smile. Hearing this, Champa complained with resentment on his face, "Stop talking nonsense. I'm angry, not tired." The sophistry made Vados giggle even more. Continue to joke. Vados doesn't do that. She knows how to control the degree, or else it really annoys Champa and really has to make a scene again. It wasn't until Champa was completely calm that he said, "Go, Vados. Let's go to the planet Sarada." "Oh, is Lord Champa going to Saiyan's home planet?" Vados opened his mouth in surprise, and was also curious. "HMPH, aren't you worried? That Saiyan kid, I'm really afraid that he will find some trash for me. And that Birgit, it is necessary to suppress it properly, and dare to ignore the majesty of the god," Champa said viciously. Obviously, it was planned long ago, but it was forgotten before. Now that Vados took the initiative to mention it, he remembered it. Gods of destruction, basically the same, do what you think of, just do what you want. ... The screen turns. Sarada planet. After Gabe found Caulifla, before he could talk about the power conference, he was dragged by Caulifla to the open plain to fight. Although she is a female Saiyan, Caulifla has the same character as a boy, even more brave than a boy. In Saiyan, she is a type of fighting maniac, and she has always spent the days of training and fighting. As her best sister, so does Kyle. This is completely different from the original. The original Kair is a very withdrawn girl, introverted, timid, and afraid of things. It was only after experiencing the battle of the power conference that she completely changed her personality. Such a change is naturally attributed to Birgit. Because of the existence of Birgit, Kale becomes different from the original, and, unlike in the original, he is not as persistent in the emotions of Caulifla, which almost turned into a Lara plot. It's just that the problem that bothers Birgit is that although Kyle's feelings for Caulifla are not as in the original book, he has a special attachment to him. On the battlefield, the silhouettes of Caulifla and Gabe flew back and forth. The strength of the two has reached a very strong point. In Birgit's words, the value has reached the level of Beijing. In the case of not transforming, the two of them fought 50-50, and there was no winner or loser. It's okay for Gabe to feel nothing, but for Caulifla, this is an insult to her. She considers herself to be one of the best in Saiyan, and she never thinks she will be weaker than other Saiyans, even if this person is Gabe. She has been fighting outside to improve her strength all year round. "Caulifla, is that enough? There is no need for our battle to continue. I'm here to find you, and I have something to talk about." While under attack from Caulifla, Gabe persuaded. Hearing this, Caulifla, who was angry because she couldn't take advantage of Gabe, was even more unconvinced, and said, "Stop talking. After you defeat me, I will naturally listen to you carefully. Speak. But, you will definitely be defeated by me, and then say what you have to say." The rebellious words said, Caulifla's offensive became more and more violent. After waving several iron fists in a row, he forced Gabe back, and at the same time clenched his fists to his waist and shouted violently. The golden arrogance rose instantly and enveloped him. In a short time of less than 1 second, Caulifla completed the transformation of Super Saiyan. Moreover, it is still the state of Super Saiyan's first order full power. Except the move. There was another wild and coquettish shout, and Caulifla rushed out, like a golden beam of light, directly in front of Gabe. Seeing that he was invincible, Gabe didn't hesitate. Golden arrogance swirled around his body, and he completed the transformation of super full power in just a moment. The two also scuffled together again. Fighting with fists and feet, the situation has not changed, but Gabe only defended from the very beginning, and turned into an active attack. "Carly Frossen, since you have to fight with me to the end, come on. This time it won't be the same as before, and I'm not who I was a year ago." Gabe's words, said very arrogant. This is very different from his appearance. It seems that such words are not suitable and should not be said from his mouth. Originally domineering words have become a little petty, and there is also a strong sense of competitiveness at work. Facing Gabe's counterattack, Caulifla felt a little pressure for a while. Stepping back, the momentum was briefly suppressed. This shocked her heart, and at the same time, the dissatisfaction in her heart turned into anger. Gabe has always been identified by her as an opponent, but the current Gabe is indeed something she has never seen before. At least, that momentum was not possessed by the previous Gabe. If it wasn't for sure that the person in front of her was Gabe, she would doubt whether it was the real Gabe or someone else's impersonation. It's just that you haven't seen each other for a year and you have risen to this level. I thought you've been wasting time this year. However, Compared to you, I haven't spent this year in vain. Look, after being suppressed by Gabe for a short time, the anger in Caulifla's heart grew even stronger. She waved her hand sharply, and a powerful force burst out, sweeping Gabe's body. In the blink of an eye, Gabe, who had started a counterattack, was repulsed. The legs are firmly tied, and the energy is rhythmic in the body. Ha! A deep cry broke out from Caulifla's mouth. The lightning flashes, and the golden light spreads. Caulifla's breath showed an explosive growth. Especially on the arms that belonged to the waist, the blue veins expanded and twisted like a coiled dragon, and it was terrifying. Such a sudden change in the situation made Gabe feel threatened. In the state of super full power, his combat power level has increased dozens of times. Even Caulifla was in a posture of super full power, but he couldn't keep up with the explosion of this power, and it made him open his mouth wide and his pupils shrank suddenly because of the shock, which was extremely unbelievable. In such a situation, if he doesn't feel wrong, there is no doubt that he will break through the limit and become the second tier of Super Saiyan. How could that be? Carly Frasong, don't you? Gabe took a deep breath and muttered. At the beginning, he was going to say it when he invited Caulifla, and he took the opportunity to make a comparison, but he didn't talk about it directly and even transformed before him. Drink. With a sullen voice, without answering Gabe's meaning, Caulifla's violent aura gradually became stable under strong suppression and concentration. Although the appearance has not changed much, the appearance is still the appearance of Super Saiyan at full power of the first stage, but the hair is more lush and erect, and there are also dense arcs around the periphery of the golden arrogance. This is the second level of Super Saiyan. How? Gabe, this is the result of my training for a year. It's still too late to admit defeat. The second level of Super Saiyan gave Caulifla the absolute confidence to defeat everything. She believes that the second level of Super Saiyan is currently only achieved by Birgit, so now she is the strongest in Saiyan except Birgit. Even her big brother Lien Suo is definitely no longer her opponent. As for the rest of Saiyan, no one could possibly be her opponent. Even Gabe, the representative of the elite combat power in Saiyan. It's really amazing. Carly Flasson, I really didn't expect that, without going through the martial arts conference with the 7th universe, without seeing a higher level of transformation, you will reach the second place in Super Saiyan by your own strength. Gee, I'm not as good as you. Gabe, who had regained his senses, suppressed the shock in his heart and sighed. Oh, listening to you, the 7th universe really has Saiyan as Birgit said at the beginning. Besides, it seems to have reached this level. Because of Gabe's words, Caulifla was surprised for a moment. No longer take it seriously. The 7th universe is the 7th universe, and the 6th universe is the 6th universe. Even though Saiyan from the 7th universe is amazing, she doesn't think she will lose. This is actually a concept instilled by Birgit, and what Birgit told her in her early years. Since it is Ruan Sheng universe, there must be the same race. I have always been cultivating hard, and I have always been not weaker than others. In fact, I am preparing for the unknowable future. The simple nature of Caulifla's unwillingness to admit defeat means she doesn't want to lose. So whether in the 6th universe or the 7th universe, she is unwilling to lose to her clan. Actually, I came back this time to discuss these issues. You are too anxious and too arrogant. Although what I say next will be ugly, I am not talking for the 7th universe. They are indeed walking with us. In front, not only the second level of Super Saiyan, but also a more advanced transformation. Gabe said with a sigh. In his opinion, Caulifla's character is the same as Birgit's. Self-confidence is too inflated to ignore others. He didn't know it himself, he was a frog in the bottom of the well. He would never have known that Birgit had already reached that level, and higher. In fact, after listening to Birgit's words before, he should have reacted. It's just that he hasn't seen it or witnessed it with his own eyes, so he still thinks Birgit is just trying to save face. Hearing Gabe's words, Caulifla was obviously a little stunned. These words came out of Gabe's mouth, making her a little dumbfounded. You know, such an idea should not exist. What is it about not growing others' ambition, but destroying one's own prestige? What's the difference between this and that kind of villain who tends to be inflamed? Look down on your own people, and madly suggest how awesome the enemy on the opposite side is. Hey, Gabe, do you mean that Saiyan of the 6th universe is not as good as the Saiyan of the 7th universe? Wait, let me make it clear first, the reason why you say this is not because did you lose the battle over there? Caulifla asked while holding her forehead. The words were clear, and there was a chance to defend. Gabe said, I didn't mean that, but this time in the competition with the 7th universe, I really lost to Saiyan over there, and it also allowed me to see a wider world. Not only me, but Hit almost lost to that universe's Son Goku. For me, I don't even have the ability to fight back. So, you bluntly concluded that Saiyan over there must be better than our universe. Don't tell me, Gabe, where do you put Brother Linso and Brother Burgett? You can't represent us, Saiyan of the 6th universe. You can't, neither can I, no Saiyan can, only Brother Burgett can. You should know that. The words fell, and Caulifla showed anger. This anger made her aura stronger, and she frantically crushed Gabe. Feeling the pressure doubled, Gabe was sweating profusely. Caulifla's accusation left him speechless for a while. It was only then that he realized that he really seemed to be paying too much attention to Saiyan over there, and thus completely ignored the feelings of his companions. The words faltered, unable to say a complete sentence. Gabe was stunned. His head hurts at the words that Caulifla said. Obviously it didn't mean that, but now it feels like that's what it means. In fact, he didn't even realize that after this competition, he was not only forcibly changed in mind and body, but also disguised his ignorance as the universe of theirs, which is not as good as the 7th universe. Gabe, I can pretend I didn't hear you speak ill of anyone. But, you are not allowed to speak ill of Brother Burgett. Brother Burgett, but our Saiyan's benefactor and the mentor of all our Saiyans. Without him, there is no Saiyan today. And there is no you today. He is the truly strongest Saiyan. How can you replace him to represent the Saiyan of our 6th universe? Care on the side, from start to finish not a word was said. But it was because of Caulifla's explanation and Gabe's speechlessness that she was plunged into anger. Different from the original book, she can already control her power, even if it is only a small part, but she is also an absolute powerhouse. At least, it's much stronger than Gabe and Caulifla a year ago. Now, no one knows what it will be like. Because they never played. No, Car, listen to me. As soon as he finished speaking, Gabe had already felt the pressure from Car. This Saiyan female madman is not so easy to mess with. That year, Kyle broke out for the first time under Burgett's guidance, but everyone except Burgett was killed. Later, even if Kale controlled his emotions and consciousness, his combat power was not comparable to the original Gabe and Caulifla. You're causing trouble, Gabe. With an angry look, Caulifla looked at Kale with a serious face. At the same time, I also blame myself for being cheap, saying such words so that Kale directly misunderstands. She was deeply afraid that Kale would not transform or train for a long time, and would be the same as when he transformed into the first 2 times. Otherwise, Gabe alone will die. To know that power, even if she has now reached the 2nd level of Super Saiyan that Gabe said, it is quite difficult to deal with. Kale, listen to me, before I came to see you, I had already gone to see Brother Burgett and told him the situation. I didn't mean to look down on everyone, and I didn't mean to raise the 7th universe Saiyan, so don't. The words were not finished yet. In Gabe's eyes, Kyre's body was already enveloped by a green arrogance. Although he did not transform, his aura was so strong that it completely suppressed his Super Saiyan number 1 order full power state. Here, the situation has changed abruptly, and some are developing in an uncontrollable direction. The other side, Longji Mountain. Burgett, who had finished communicating with Lien Suo, entered into meditation again. But at this moment, I was forced to wake up again and sense the past in the distance. Not only did he sense the power that changed the color of the world, but Lien Suo, who was resting in the house, was also frightened. What's the matter, Burgett? The existence of this breath is Kale. Lien Suo opened his mouth, in disbelief. It's really Kale. It seems that Gabe suddenly found them, fought Caulifla, and then pulled Kale's power out. After so many years, this little girl still can't do it. Control your own power. Staring at the dim, green sky in the distance, Burgett got up and said. All in all, it's okay, at least there's no runaway trend. It's just that Kale still can't control his power, so it leads to excessive leakage of breath. It seems to be very strong, but the power that can be displayed is less than 1% of this momentum. It's over. If it's the same as before, wouldn't the Sarada planet be destroyed? Birgit, you can't stay here any longer, and you're the only one who can stop Kale. Lien Suo hurried urged. He remembered the day when the planet Sarada was nearly destroyed. If it weren't for the Dragon Ball of the Namek people to restore the planet Sarada, I am afraid that the planet Sarada would no longer exist. Don't worry, it's not yet time for me to take action. Since it was Gabe who caused the trouble, he must suffer. I don't know what this kid did to make Kaylee so angry. Birgit shaking his head, he said while keeping his arms folded over his chest. On the plane, the momentum continued to rise, and it was extremely turbulent. The hurricane swept round and round in all directions, let alone Gabe, even the Super 2 Caulifla could hardly hold on. This is still the untransformed Kale. Kale, this girl, is she so strong? Caulifla exclaimed. Now is not the time to say this, Carly Frossen, we must join forces to stop Kaylee, Gabe said. In the next second, his arm swung in one motion, and powerful chi spurted out of his body. Super Saiyan Tier 2. After mastering the method, Gabe's transformation does not require complicated movements at all. Seeing Gabe's transformation, Caulifla was even more surprised. Have you achieved this transformation too? When asked, Gabe nodded without explaining much. He has found that the more he talks, the bigger things will happen. Unforgivable, Gabe, you are too self-righteous and arrogant. Even I can't defeat it, and I dare to make irresponsible remarks here. Under the burning anger, Kair still maintained a rational speech. She has suppressed her emotions and her strength, otherwise, the transformation that directly transcends the boundaries will directly cover the entire Sarada planet. I said, I didn't mean that. Besides, I may not be able to defeat you now, Kale. Gabe's Super 2 is slightly different from Caulifla's Super 2. Under Vegeta's teaching, the mastery is more skilled and the power is stronger. And after the match with the 7th universe, it is not that he has not practiced seriously, but he has been working hard to become stronger. However, his confidence was still too inflated. Even the current him, compared with Kale, is 108,000 miles away. Stop being narcissistic there. To defeat you, I only need one hand. Kair, who was in anger, was enveloped in blood. Powerful, she burst out in an instant. Although she hasn't transformed, the power she has now is not weaker than that of Gabe, who has become the second-tier Super Saiyan. Of course, Gabe is not without a chance of winning, because the power Kale is using now is only a part of a part, and it has not yet become a super transfer form. Once transformed, the power used is even greater, so let alone one Gabe, even 10 Gabes are not Kale's opponents at all. Facing Kaylee's attack, Gabe took a deep breath, it can be said that he was full of strength, and threw a punch. Boom. Single quote. The violent roar exploded, shaking the earth and shaking the space. The huge force swept in, making Gabe's original self-confidence mentality collapse directly. At the second level of Super Saiyan, he thought that he had enough power to compete with Kair. After all, Kair had not transformed. As a result, he was crushed without any suspense. That terrifying power was completely beyond his ability to resist. It also caused the confidence that he had just born to collapse, and his strength plummeted. With one punch, it seemed that he was not hurt, but was forced out by Kaylee's brute force, but in fact, his body had been shaken with internal injuries. If it wasn't for Super Saiyan's second-order state being stable enough, he would have already vomited blood at this time, and even his form would not be preserved. This is the power you're talking about. Die, Gabe. With a loud shout, Kaylee didn't give Gabe time to rest and react, and a stride rushed down in front of him again. With this explosive speed, Gabe didn't even have time to think. The next second, his body was about to feel the pain, but he closed his eyes, but he didn't wait for the pain for a long time. Opening his eyes, he saw that Caulifla was standing in front of him, and Caulifla, with his hands folded, fully resisted Kaylee's explosive punch. She was tormented, and only at this time did she realize her insignificance. Over the past year, she has been cultivating and making continuous progress, and now she has achieved a higher form of transformation, but it is still far less powerful than Kair. You, wake me up. Kale. With a shout, Caulifla tried to calm Kale. She didn't expect that Kale didn't lose his mind at all, just wanted to teach Gabe a lesson and let him know how stupid he was. Get out of the way, Sister Caulifla, didn't you realize that the current Gabe is no longer the former Gabe? Thinking that if you have become a little stronger, you can act recklessly. Without withdrawing his fist, Kale's the hair moves with the wind, and the ropes that tie the braids have long been snapped. It seems that anytime, anywhere, it is possible to transform. Hearing this, Caulifla was startled, looked at Kale in stunned eyes, and opened her mouth. He didn't run wild, he just wanted to abuse Gabe. Gabe, who was behind Caulifla, was immediately stunned. In his heart, it was already a mentality of what to do with it. Kale, I never thought I was so great, I just told the truth. We can't live in our own world, and we can't rest on our laurels, can't we? I just think that I'm very powerful, better than everyone else. Once you encounter a really powerful enemy, the final end will only be despair. Facing Kale's accusation, Gabe was also a little annoyed. He didn't think he was wrong. At this time, he had already seen the vast world. Such words not only irritated Caulifla, but also completely angered Kale. You heard it, Sister Caulifla, this is Gabe now. Angrily glared, Kale pulled back his strength for a moment, and pushed Caulifla directly away with the other hand. The fierce fist hit Gabe head-on again. LB. A muffled sound. Under absolute power, Gabe had no resistance. Not only did his body fly upside down and was seriously injured, but his Super 2 form collapsed in an instant. Seeing this, Caulifla on the side was dumbfounded, motionless. At the beginning, I planned to join forces with Gabe, because I was afraid of Kale's runaway. The current situation is not at all a situation in which Kale is running wild, and she does not need to take action. And, Kaylee is right, Gabe is indeed a bit self-righteous. There is really no problem listening to what he said, but because there is no problem, it is the most critical part of the problem. In their words, Gabe was thinking too much of himself, calling them and everyone else rubbish, as if they didn't know anything. It seems that he is the only one thinking about these issues, and they should listen to him. In the final analysis, Gabe in the original book actually has some tendency to follow the trend. As a player of the 6th universe, he assisted the 7th universe everywhere. Even after the Super Dragon Ball recovered everything, the first sentence Gabe said was Vegeta. The master fulfilled his promise. It sounds okay, but from the perspective of different universes, it is a different definition. It's like, the reason why the 6th universe can be restored is purely his credit. Okay, Kale, do you really want to kill? He is our companion after all. Caulifla finally couldn't help but persuaded. Kale's fist arrived in front of Gabe, and finally stopped. This also hit Gabe deeply. The two just stared at each other. Gabe fell to the ground powerless, while Kaylee looked intimidated. It's time to know how small you are. So don't think how powerful you are. You were defeated by Saiyan of the 7th universe, that's your lack of ability. It doesn't mean that we will also be defeated by Saiyan of the 7th universe. It's different, we are stronger than you, Brother Birget's strength is stronger than us. The sharp words made Gabe open his mouth, not knowing how to answer. And Kaire's words haven't finished. To put it bluntly, it is your shame to be defeated by Saiyan of the 7th universe, and now you are proud of it. Who are you looking down on? Gabe paused, not knowing how to put the words back. At this time, there was a sudden change in the sky. Accompanied by a colorful beam of light falling from the sky, it landed in front of Gabe, Kale and Caulifla. Gods of Destruction Champa, Angel Vados descended. It came all the way from the solar system of the 6th universe, but reached the planet Sarada in a short time. And, come to the place where the farce is taking place. The situation here has already been informed by Vados through virtual images to Champa, which made Champa complain for a while. It really makes me angry, Vados. Why didn't you say that Saiyan from the 6th universe is stronger? If this kid goes to the tournament, the Earth of the 7th universe will be ours, is also constantly looking at Kale. He clearly felt that power. Although it was the same for him, he had to say that it was indeed much stronger than Gabe, and could even be compared to Hit. That Hit, who almost won the game for him, ended up doing it. If Kale participates, the win rate will skyrocket, and where will it become so complicated? In the end, Zeno was also brought out, and now he has to do the power conference. If you lose the game, universe, including him, will be destroyed. Well, Lord Champa, you are blaming me again. Didn't you choose it at the beginning? Vados looked helpless and aggrieved. As an angel, she naturally knows how many strong people exist in the universe, but it is completely unnecessary in her opinion. For example, they knew that Birgit was stronger and was the strongest Saiyan, but they refused. Humph, you are arguing. However, this time, it's not in vain. This kid Gabe didn't fool me. This kid is not bad. No, these two kid are not bad. Said sarcastically. At this time, he also noticed Caulifla on the side, although there is still a big gap compared to Kale, but compared to Gabe, it is indeed more powerful. Oh, it's rare for Lord Champa to praise others. Vados smiled slightly at Champa's sudden praise. What about Kyle and Caulifla at this time? They were still in a state of surprise and ignorance, and it was inconceivable for the fat cat and woman who came suddenly. Because they don't know Champa and Vados, they don't know that Champa is gods of destruction and Vados is angel. Cut, I'm just telling the truth. By the way, Gabe kid, which one of these is the Birgit you said? With a casual response, Champa turned his attention to the fallen Gabe. Although he had seen the situation here through Vados before, he still didn't know the actual situation, and he didn't know Kale and Caulifla. In disguise, he took one of Kyle and Caulifla as Birgit. In the end, it's a no-brainer. The name Birgit is a male, and the Kale and Caulifla in front of him are both female. Like, Lord Champa. Why are you here? Facing gods of destruction Champa, Gabe murmured with lingering fears. The accident happened so suddenly that he had no time to react. In particular, he heard the meaning of Champa's words and came to find Birgit. Hey, who are you? What do you mean by calling someone a brat so rudely when you came up? Caulifla was the first to speak. Obviously the name of the brat made her very uncomfortable. She's in her 20s anyway, right? Although she is not tall, she is a woman. Sister Caulifla, they are here to find brother Birgit, and Gabe still knows each other. Gabe brought it. Kyre's serious look clearly blamed Gabe for the cause. Body. I have to say, it is. It was because of Gabe's relationship that the Saiyan family completely appeared in front of gods of destruction Champa, which attracted him. Don't get excited, Kale. These two, one is gods of destruction from our 6th universe, and the other is Lord Angel Vados. Gabe hurriedly stood in the middle regardless of his injury, fearing that something would happen. Light in the atmosphere. Gods of destruction. That's the fat cat. Caulifla's words of surprise made Champa bewildered. Fat cat. No other being dares to speak of him except gods of destruction Beerus, who will use the word to humiliate him when he sees him. Not to mention, mortals. The anger that had subsided increased sharply again, and blue veins appeared on Champa's forehead, and the atmosphere became more solid for a while. Vados on the side narrowed his eyes slightly, knowing what was going to happen, but did not stop it. Gabe was so frightened that his face was blue and sweaty, and he shuddered even more. Don't, Lord Champa, Califrosin is unintentional, she didn't mean to call you that. He kept fiddling with his hands, but it didn't help at all. Very good, Saiyan's little devil. I don't have the slightest sense of awe when I see gods of destruction, and dare to despise the existence of this god. Do you really think that you are invincible in the world? Gods. The aura of destruction suddenly appeared and enveloped Champa's body. This also allowed Caulifla and Kai to concentrate for the first time. Shocked by the invisible coercion, especially Caulifla, cold sweat broke down on her face, and it became difficult to breathe. Kale was better, but he also knew at this time that this gods of destruction was not easy to mess with. The two had serious faces and serious expressions, and they did not dare to be careless. For them, this is also the first time in recent years that they have encountered such an opponent and encountered such a situation. Kair is also ready to transform into an explosion at any time and liberate his power. Longji Mountain. Birgit, who was staring into the distance, suddenly felt a terrifying aura appear, her eyes narrowed slightly, and she laughed. If it is someone else, it is absolutely imperceptible at such a long distance. Because that is the breath of God, only God, or an existence with a certain level of power can perceive it. Sure enough, how fast. Gods of destruction Champa, and Angel Vados. The words came out of Birgit's mouth. These words caught Lien Suo's attention, with a ghostly expression. What do you mean? Could it be that gods of destruction and angel have come to our planet? Birgit. Without answering, Birgit just nodded earnestly. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. I originally thought that Champa would take the initiative to come to him when he refused to participate in the martial arts conference with the 7th universe last time, but instead of coming, he didn't pay much attention to him. Now, it's here. Chapter 11. This time, it's my turn. With a murmur in her mouth, Birgette's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was already a strong fighting intent in her eyes. After coming to this world for decades, invincible universe for so many years, he has long been unable to find a suitable opponent to test his strength. A few years ago, Birgette even wanted to take the initiative to use her power to attract the attention of Gods of Destruction Champa, so as to fight against it. Of course, that matter is not over. After all, Gods of Destruction has Angel by his side. Gods of Destruction can be said to be the strongest in universe and can be surpassed, but Angel's words are not so easy to deal with. Aside, hearing Birgette's words, Lien Suo's face showed a look of surprise. Undoubtedly shocked by Birgette's words. Gods of Destruction Champa, that is the highest level of God in the universe. For them mortals, even if they have unparalleled power, they can only look up and cannot climb high. Could it be, Birgette, are you going to fight against Gods of Destruction? Although you have never seen Gods of Destruction and Angel, you should have heard rumors that such existences are almost invincible. We mortals, even as strong as you. I'm afraid it can't be his opponent. Lien Suo's words faltered, wanting to explain the benefits to Birgette, but he couldn't express it all at once. In his opinion, Gods of Destruction and Angel, that is the object that must not be provoked. Even if people blatantly do bad things and destroy the planet, they can only be regarded as not seen. Otherwise, what awaits you is death. I know what you are going to say, but what I want to say is that although the existence of God is high, it is not invincible. At least for me, it has already been involved in that field, Champa, nothing to worry about. There is absolute confidence in it. Birgette is not lying, nor is it bluffing, nor is it self-confidence. But have absolute certainty. Stronger than him, he has reached the realm of today, and his combat power has already reached the point of being comparable to Gods of Destruction and surpassing Gods of Destruction. In particular, for more than 10 years, he has already obtained the ability and some information from Namek Shenron of the 6th universe. The ability is a unit of combat power that can see any person or thing. Of course, in the 6th universe Shenron's explanation, it is to convert the energy contained in the target person and think based on the maximum destructive power into numerical values, combat unit. Although it may be different from the so-called combat power index of the 7th universe, the gap in this index is not too big. The information I know is that it is divided into the power dimension known by the 6th universe Shenron. The dimension unit of ordinary life is 1, the unit of less than 10,000 is 2, the unit of 10,000 to 100 million is 3, and the unit of 10 million to trillion is 4. Jiao to Beijing is 5, Jing to Gai is 6, Gai to Z is 7, Z to Rang is 8, Rang to Go is 9, Go to Jian is 10. This is just the information that Shenron informed. Birgette also uses this dimensional division to guess the difference between the following unit dimensions. Decomposed by one unit and one dimension, it is, the stream reaches exactly 11, the positive arrival is 12, the load reaches the extreme is 13, the extreme Ganges sand is 14, the Ganges sand reaches the Asongji, 15, and the Asongji it is 16 to Nyuta, 17 to Nyuta to inconceivable, and 18 to incomprehensible to infinity. Besides, the reason for such confidence is because Birgette's normal combat power has already reached the 9th dimension. Rang's unit, and it is 1000 Rang. Of course, 1000 Rang can't be compared with Gods of Destruction, but it will be different after transformation. In the state of the first level of Super Saiyan, the strength can reach more than 50 times of the normal state, and the full power can be increased by 80 times of the normal state. The second stage of Super Saiyan can reach twice the strength of the first stage of Super Saiyan, which is 100 times of normal. The perfect peak can break through to 150 times. Just a 150-fold increase in the super second peak, Birgette's strength can rise to the 10th dimension, the unit of the groove. 15,000 Rang. And in the original book, the strength of Gods of Destruction is the 10th dimension, the unit of the groove. Of course, this is just the base strength. The third stage of Super Saiyan, not to mention the initial 400 times the normal increase, Birgette, who has reached the peak limit, can increase the combat power to 600 times the normal. And then there's Super Saiyan God. The initial mode is an improvement of 3,000 times to 4,000 times, and the peak is as high as 5,000 times the normal improvement. Super Blue, reaching the range of 6,000 times to 8,000 times, and the full power of Super Blue reaching 9,000 times to 10,000 times. On top of this, the evolution of Super Saiyan Dark Blue is commonly known as Super Blue 2. On the basis of the Super Blue full power, a 20-fold increase is superimposed again. Super Blue 3 is based on the evolution of Dark Blue, and it has been increased by 50 to 100 times again. In other words, Birgette's ultimate strength is in the 11th dimension, or even the 12th dimension. This is something Birgette has never tried. Where exactly is his limit? He has to find it by himself. After all, over the years, there is no opponent who can fight, and it's just that Birgette has been constantly improving the strength of the normal state, otherwise, the research on Super Blue 3 will definitely be deeper. It has even reached a higher level of transformation that has not appeared in the original parallel world, even in the rumored parallel world. Shocked by Birgette's words, shocked by Birgette's performance. Lien Suo was speechless for a while, just stared at Birgette blankly. Birgette has always been the backbone of his heart and the backbone of the entire Saiyan family. Never changed. What Birgette said was never wrong, and what Birgette did was never right. Now facing gods of destruction Champa, Lien Suo questioned instead. He was laughing at his own thought. I didn't expect that one day I would not believe in you. Birgette, go, let me see how strong you are now. Let the gods of destruction see the power of our Saiyan. Faith. After settling down, Lien Suo clenched his fists with both hands and said as if he was asking. Hearing this, Birgette smiled slightly, the corners of her mouth twitched, and responded, ah. Yes. In an instant, Birgette's figure had disappeared. Instant transmission. Do not. This is not an ordinary instant transmission, it is an instant transmission that Birgette has changed with the help of her own perception upgrade after her strength has improved. In Birgette's words, true teleportation. In terms of the perception of the power of space, directly connecting the two sides of the space, even without the help of breath, even without the help of other media, can achieve an instant across an endless distance. In order to succeed in this move, Birgette also obtained the universe star map of the 6th universe with the help of Namek Bal Shenron. Otherwise, what you can do is limited to the field you know, and you can't cover the entire universe. Of course, it is a pity that it is not possible to cross universes to other universes. This is still a shortcoming, and it is also a loophole that Birgette has always wanted to fill. Seeing Birgette leave, Lien Suo's face changed slightly, with a slightly empty and sad look in his eyes, looking towards the place where the breath burst. On the plain, breath surging. Because of gods of destruction Champa's imposing coercion, the whole world was deterred and changed drastically. At this moment, there are not only Gabe, Kair, Caulifla, but also some nearby Saiyans who sensed the abnormality and rushed to help. It's just that no matter how many people there are, for gods of destruction Champa, it's not worth mentioning. How could a god care about the number of ants? Even if the entire planet is covered like a tide, it will not look straight. Lord Champa, it's just a slip of the tongue, she really didn't mean to offend her. Please stop, I can take you to Brother Birgette. Gabe, who didn't know what to do, wanted to use Birgette to divert attention so that Champa stops. Because he had heard it before, Champa was here for Birgette. Humph. Gabe, have you come this far? What if it's gods of destruction? If you want to do anything to Brother Birgette, you have to pass our level first. Reacting and answering, Kale's voice sounded. All of a sudden, the situation became more and more uncontrollable. It was indeed something that could be solved in a few words, but now there is no room for relaxation. Champa is not stupid, he is extremely stingy. How could he allow his existence to despise himself to live? Even if this person has a very strong strength and can participate in the power conference to be held in the future, he will never give in. In his words, the 6th universe is so big, he really can't believe that he can't find a few masters. Kel is right. Gabe, you are so disappointing. You dared to take responsibility before, and you will never back down from anything. Even if you are afraid, you will move forward bravely. Ra and Kair stood on the united front, and said again, if you want to deal with Brother Birgette, you must step over our bodies. The words were already dead, and Saiyan around him learned of this situation and directly chose to hold a group to resist. Birget, the king of Saiyan. Even if it's not the real king, Birget is faith, the existence that has created miracles for Saiyan. This kind of situation is like a mess. Even Vados in the back was finding it difficult to explain, so he had to wait and see what happened. After all, even if they came to find Birget, they didn't take the initiative to ask for trouble. As a result, a word or two became the enemy. However, this is also very interesting, and Vado's perception has already noticed that Birget knows the situation here, and has used the power of space to come. I don't know, Saiyan, the strongest in our universe, and Son Goku and Vegeta in the 7th universe, who is stronger or weaker? Vados wondered in his heart. You Saiyan monkeys, you are so righteous in the face of this god. Do you really think that I, gods of destruction, can be insulted at will? Contempt for the majesty of God, all should be kicked. With murderous intent bursting out of his eyes, Champa's aura changed accordingly. Gods of destruction, never theorize with people. Never reason with anyone. To put it bluntly, for gods of destruction, I am the biggest in the entire universe, and I can do whatever I want. The coercion of gods of destruction came, and a sense of terrifying oppression shrouded all Saiyan in an instant. This shock alone made all Saiyan incapable of fighting. Even Kair and Caulifla are hard to resist, let alone other Saiyans. Even if they transform into Super Saiyans, they can only stay in place, unable to move. In a cold sweat, no one dared to take action. Even if they were forced to take action, their body would not listen to their commands because of fear and reason. Is this the gods of destruction? Actually, so strong. Caulifla sighed inwardly. At this time, she also regretted a little, and it was indeed because she spoke out of proportion, which caused things to become like this. If she hadn't shouted that fat cat, maybe she could still communicate well now. Of course, it is useless to have such thoughts now. Moreover, in Caulifla's view, people are here to find Birget, and even if it is not good now, it will definitely become what it is now. Kair, who was beside her, forcibly wanted to release the power in her body, but for some reason, the power of transcendence that her body had been suppressing had disappeared instead, and even she herself could no longer perceive it. She was oppressed and restricted by the coercion of gods of destruction, so she was in a very awkward middle point. Humph, that kind of unpleasant things happened on Earth first, and now it's the same on Sarada. Saiyan of our universe, like Saiyan of the 7th universe, are a bunch of brainless idiots. Since our universe is a bunch of idiots, the Saiyan is not as good as the Saiyan of the 7th universe, so just destroy it. I will be ridiculed by Beerus in the future, saying that I am not as good as him. As he spoke, Champa slowly floated up to the sky. The power of gods of destruction surrounding his body continued to grow stronger, emitting a faint purple light. Although it was very thin to the naked eye, it looked extremely terrifying. Allah, if Lord Champa wants to destroy the Sarada planet and Saiyan, it will not be so easy. At this time, the spatial changes became more and more clear, and Vados couldn't help but said. Hearing this, Champa frowned slightly. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared on the land. The breath suddenly came, and in an instant, it blocked the coercion of gods of destruction back. Birget, here we come. Coming to the plain, Birget hammered both sides with both hands. Her expression was indifferent, and she just stood there calmly. Nothing moved, nothing was said. But it was the power of gods of destruction Champa that was imperceptibly resisted. Raising her head, she glanced at Champa in the sky, and Birget looked at Vados in front of her again with a cautious look in her eyes. It's not because he saw Vados that he was cautious, but because of his strength, he couldn't even perceive the depth of the opponent at all. The most terrifying thing is that the ability to see through the combat power value given by Shenron has no effect on Angel Vados at all. Unlike Champa, Birget can not only perceive his strength, but also see his combat power index. 10th dimension. Ditch unit. Maybe it's not full strength on the surface, but at least there is a certainty of Champa's strength. There is no need to worry that his strength is far superior to himself and cannot be defeated. Brother Birget, you're here. All Saiyans saw Birget's appearance, and Kale shouted directly and couldn't help it. Surprise, but also worry. Because the opposite target is Birget. It's all right. Leave it to me, Kaylee. Nodding, Birget didn't look back and continued to look at Vados opposite. Such blatant eyes did not make Vados embarrassed or strange, but looked at Birgit with her beautiful eyes curiously. For Vados, although he already knew about Birgit's existence and knew that Birgit was very powerful, it was the first time he had seen it with his own eyes. It was the first time in tens of billions of years that I had seen such a person. Looking at Vados and seeing the meaning in her eyes, Birgit frowned, shifted her attention, and looked at Champa in the sky again. Gods of destruction acts like this to destroy the planet Sarada. The words came out of his mouth. Birgit's blunt words made Champa, who was still emitting gods of destruction's power in the sky, look serious. Although she has always been lazy and conceited, Champa is no fool. He knew that the pressure he unleashed was blocked by the sudden appearance of Saiyan in front of him. Humph, are you the Birgit who didn't know how to live or die and disobeyed the orders of the god? You really have that kind of ability. Champa reluctantly suppressed the previous anger with the gods of destruction restrained. Condescending, Shenwei is still releasing. This is using the coercion of God to let mortals know their insignificance. God's usual style. Faced with this kind of pressure, Birgit completely ignored it, and her body slowly floated to the sky, slowly reaching the height where Champa was. Such actions are undoubtedly blasphemy against God. Because in the eyes of God, mortals will always be mortals, and how dare they reach the same height? However, Champa did not stop, because the Saiyan in front of him was indeed different from the others. This feeling is like the feeling that Son Goku from the 7th universe gave him. Although it was just a momentary feeling, Champa kept it in his heart. It is also a rare feeling that mortals can give him. On the ground, Gabe, Kaylee, and Caulifla had gathered together, and the other Saiyans were standing beside them. The arrival of Birgit has undoubtedly made them happy. But Gabe, Kyle, and Caulifla were very worried. No matter how strong Birgit is, compared to gods of destruction, I'm afraid it really won't be as good, right? If they hadn't felt the horror of gods of destruction at first, they wouldn't think so, but now that they've felt it, it's such a horror that they don't even dare to move. The current situation is no longer under our control. Originally, all of this would never have happened at the beginning. Gabe raised his head and sighed in his mouth. In the end, there is still some complaining, because this is to express that gods of destruction would never have been like this if it weren't for Caulifla and Kale. They didn't come to destroy the planet, and they didn't come to really deal with Birgit. With such targeted words, others don't know the situation, so they don't know what's going on, but Caulifla and Kaylee understand it. Gabe, are you putting all the blame on me? Although I called the other party a fat cat rudely, but just because of this name did something to destroy the planet, this god, that's all. Even if I die, I won't bow my head, just like you, linger on and live. Caulifla rolled her eyes viciously. She, who is straightforward and doesn't beat around the bush, doesn't think it's her fault. Moreover, if you want to destroy the planet Sarada just because of a name, and you don't even listen to the explanation, then this so-called universe's highest level god should not be a god, but a demon. Hey, I'm also my fault, I didn't make it clear to you, but you should have listened to me and made things clear at first. It's too late to say anything now. Even Brother Birgit, it's impossible to defeat Lord Gods of Destruction. Yes, Gabe sighed. The deterrence brought by gods of destruction is so great that even if you have mastered a very powerful strength, you feel invincible. HMPH. I don't believe it. No matter how strong or terrible it is, I still believe that Brother Birgit will not lose. Kale's belief was much stronger than the two of them. It's also entirely because Birgit had so much influence on her. From childhood to adulthood, Birgit has been guiding her and teaching her. Even though she has seen less in the past 2 years, Birgit is irreplaceable in her heart. As in the original book, her trust in Caulifla. In the sky, staring at Champa not far away, Birgit has begun to mobilize the long silent power in her body. It's been too long since I had to fight seriously. This time my opponent is Gods of Destruction Champa, so don't be careless. No matter how confident she is in herself and how sure she can beat Champa, Birgit will never take it lightly. It is not uncommon for the ship to capsize in the gutter. It is often because of excessive carelessness that the stronger power is lost to the weak. Humph, as a mortal, you have the confidence to face this god. I'm curious, where did you get the courage? Or, Gods of Destruction, didn't give you Saiyan any color, and you just gone. Burget's breath changed, and Champa felt it. Champa's words were righteous and confident, and he also felt that he was very arrogant. I don't know if you are floating or not, but I know that you are a little too conceited. It is not as easy as you think to destroy the Sarada planet and Saiyan. At least, I am still here, you can't succeed. Facing gods of destruction Champa's sarcasm, Burget didn't care and replied. If his own strength is insufficient, he is afraid of Champa, the gods of destruction. But his own strength is enough, and Champa is so self-righteous, which really makes Burget a little unbearable. Isn't this just telling him, you brat dares to stand in front of this god and shout, courting death, right? Humph, dare to say that you are arrogant. I think you are tired of living. Saiyan boy, you are indeed capable, but just like that, you dare to talk big in front of me, who gave you the courage? One sentence again annoyed Champa. In an instant, the wind was surging. The whole world seemed to have been changed, falling into a state of extreme terror. The world has changed, and everything seems to have happened so naturally, as if it should have been. The whole planet of Sarada, the end is coming. The power of the gods of destruction is so terrifying. This point, all Saiyan present really felt it. Only Burget, who faced Champa, remained basically calm. This little trick used to scare people, there is no need to use it to shame. As a god, if you don't even have basic measurements, it's very cheap. With her arms folded, Burget shouted. Champa is just scaring people. In the end, he did want to vent his anger, but he didn't really plan to do it. Maybe before, but after he came, it weakened a lot. What happened earlier, Burget didn't know either. He only knew that perhaps because of his presence, the irreversible situation had undergone subtle changes. Scare people. HMPH. Yes, I can sense that I'm just frightening people, and I don't really have any intention of doing it, but it's not too bad. When the kid Gabe recommended you, I didn't think you had any intentions. How amazing. Withdrawing some of the gods of destruction force, Champa's temptation was over. This is a test to see if Burget really has a bit of skill, or if it's fake. If it was an ordinary powerhouse, he would definitely be shocked by his previous threats. Burget doesn't, which means that the basic strength is still there. Perhaps, comparable to the 7th universe's Son Goku and Vegeta. Those two Saiyans made him lose face as gods of destruction. If Saiyan from his own universe could help him take revenge, it would be great, and then he could take the opportunity to humiliate Beerus. The idea was born. Champa continued to look at Burget, thought for a while without hearing Burget speak, and simply said again, last time, you refused the order of the god and did not participate in the martial arts conference with the 7th universe, which caused the god to lose. After a while, originally, I should destroy you, and also destroy the planet Sarada and Saiyan together. However, you have a chance, which is also a gift from this god. In the near future, the entire Universe Power Conference will behold it. Since that kid Gabe has returned here, I think you already know it. As long as you win the game for me, then I can let go of the past and not destroy the Sarada planet and your Saiyan clan. The arrogant and indomitable tone, if it is replaced by ordinary people, will definitely be relieved. At least for a short period of time, the life and the planet are saved. But for Burget, things are not so simple. Although Champa's natural appearance was not unexpected, it was really annoying to hear and see it. Staring at Champa earnestly, Burget's words slowly came out of her mouth. Indeed, I have heard the news of the power conference from Gabe not long ago, and it is not bad to be able to fight other masters of the universe, and I am also very happy. Looking forward to and yearning, but, why do I have to listen to your arrangement and participate in the so-called power conference? I said, with me, destroying the planet of Sarada and destroying the Saiyan family, you will not succeed. Unless, I'm gone. So, my answer to Gabe is rejection. The answer to you is also rejection. Reject, for sure. Champa was still in a state of narcissism at this time, completely unresponsive. He took Burget's words as well. Now that it's the way it is, I agree. It wasn't until a long time ago that Champa was able to break away from feeling good about himself, and the word, rejection, kept circling in his mind, and all of a sudden the anger he had suppressed soared again. Think about it clearly, this is not me inviting you. It's not discussing with you, but an order. The gloomy tone already reflected how hot Champa was at this time. Some words don't need to be said a second time. Now I have said them a second time. Do you think it is necessary for a third time? There was a hint of mockery in his eyes. That's why you can't help but get angry. Sure enough, Gods of Destruction is a mindless idiot. This is not only true of Champa, even Beerus, the so-called strongest Gods of Destruction in the 12 universe, is the same. Very good. You are really good. Since that's the case, then I really want to see, how do you survive from the hands of this god? How can you keep your Sarada planet and you from the hands of this god? The Saiyan clan. The Gods of Destruction stack up. The surface is calm without waves, but in fact it is as terrifying as a tsunami. Are you going to do something if you don't agree? That's fine. I really wanted to know how strong you are. Since you want to do it with me, it's better. It made Champa even more irritated by being provoked. Insane, except for Gabe, that kid who is a little polite and a little brainy, everyone else is a bunch of rude and arrogant wild monkeys. You are no exception. Arrogant. The anger came up, and Champa's power became even more powerful, turbulent. This also plunged the Sarada planet into an atmosphere of destruction, and it seemed that it might fall apart at any time. After all, it is a power that has reached the 9th dimension and above, and destroying a planet is only a matter of thought. Are you saying that Champa is not a 10th dimensional being? Certainly. It's just that the power that Champa is using now is only the 9th dimension, or even less than the 9th dimension. Feeling the coercion of Champa and facing the welcome, Birgit still did not act at all, but just drew the power out of her body to improve her momentum and not be overwhelmed. Frankly, what's going on right now is a fight between Champa and him. But Birgit has a lot of fear, because Angel Vados is watching from below. If she would intervene, then the battle wouldn't make much sense. Birgit didn't do anything, just stared at Vados on the ground, making Champa, who was in anger at this moment, unable to bear it. He was ignored at this time. What made him angry? He didn't even think about it. Birgit was afraid of Vados. Above the ground, still being watched by Birgit at this moment, Vados felt very strange. Even she didn't expect it at this moment. Birgit had such an idea in her heart. Saiyan monkey, you are really courting death. The anger was unbearable, and the violent Gods of Destruction surged frantically, rushing into the sky. Champa was about to shoot, but at this time, Birgit stopped him. I said you were too anxious. Since it's a battle between you and me, you shouldn't be able to lose for a while, right? Birgit raised her hand and said. This made Champa stunned for a moment. What do you mean? Simple-minded, it's a stupid fat cat. I mean, of course, if I defeat you, you won't have to send rescue troops, right? For example, ask Angel for help. With a chuckle, Birgit said words from the heart, and evaluation of Champa. This guy is really a fat cat with a simple mind and a fat body. Called the fat cat again. This time, Champa was furious, and in one breath, the Gods of Destruction power around him became even more manic. Good boy, you really pissed me off this time. Don't worry, you will die horribly, and absolutely no one can save you. Become less impulsive. His transformation, from a furious fat cat to a fat cat that is terrifying and calculating. It seems that you are not what I see on the surface. You can become Gods of Destruction, and you really have some brains. He praised Champa. Such a change is more interesting to Birgit. You must know that although anger can make people stronger, their actions will inevitably be disturbed by anger. And now, Champa is both angry and calm, which is no doubt serious. You don't need to judge me. This god has been the supreme Gods of Destruction since the birth of the universe. So, you'd better pray that you can make this god serious now, otherwise. The words came here, Champa, the suffocation on his body became heavier. That's natural. You can rest assured that the power I have is not what you can imagine. Witness it well. The corner of his mouth twitched, and with his words, Birgit no longer hesitated. At this point, the battle is the two of them's business. Even if Champa loses Vados in the end, Champa will never allow Vados to make a move out of face. Taking a deep breath, at the moment when the body is extremely relaxed, the breath in the mouth is exhaled, and the body is tense again, raising to 100% seriousness. Drink. Single quote. 2 consecutive muffled shouts. In an instant, Birgit's breath shot out from her body like a wild dragon. A terrifying hurricane swept across all directions, and it even collided with Champa's gods of destruction force. A terrifying oppressive feeling like a violent storm poured straight down towards Champa's body. That's what Birgit is all about. Of course, it is the normal strength, the combat power of 1000 rang units. The breath returned to the state of balance before. Birgit had a faint smile on her face, always ready to shoot. At this moment, above the ground, the Saiyans gathered together and looked up at the sky together. The power displayed by Birgit has completely subverted their cognition, and even Gabe was surprised when he saw the strength of the 7th universe Son Goku and Vegeta. Not only is the imposing manner comparable to gods of destruction, but Birgit has not transformed at this time. You see, Gabe, this is the power that Brother Birgit has. Even gods of destruction can't make Brother Birgit bow his head. Kai shouted excitedly, expressing his suppressed emotions. At least for now, even if gods of destruction is terrifying, Birgit is not incapable of resisting. As expected, it is Brother Birgit. I haven't seen him for a year. He has become so powerful. No, it should be said that I have never known that Brother Birgit is so strong. Caulifla sighed. In addition to their amazement and emotion, the other Saiyans followed suit. It's just that their voices are small, they just say it to themselves. Nothing more than shock and yearning. Worship and admiration for Birgit climbed again at a certain peak. After all, to them, Birgit's saga was many years ago, and nothing happened in those years is worth remembering. Now, Birgit can be said to have broken the original boundaries, and once again expanded everyone's cognition. In the sky, Birgit and Champa's momentum began to confront. In the face of Birgit's terrifying aura sweeping over, Champa was not surprised at all, but a faint smile appeared on his hazy face, as if he didn't care about Birgit's aura suppressing him at all. It feels really good to blow the breeze. It's a pity, the power of mortals is always the power of mortals. Compared with the power of gods, it is far worse. Birgit. Even if Birgit is really strong, there is still a big gap between him and him. Hearing Champa's words, Birgit didn't care. Frankly speaking, if normality can crush Champa, then gods of destruction is too stretched. Indeed, it's nothing, but it's just the beginning, Birgit said defiantly. In the next second, he mobilized the energy in his body, and golden arrogance overflowed from the surface of his body. The breath and combat power data showed explosive growth. The golden arrogance continued to rise, spinning and expanding around the body. In Champa's eyes, the unit of the 9th dimension Qianzhong is obviously not enough. And Birgit didn't hesitate. This is also to be expected. Crackling. Single quote. The space ripples visible to the naked eye spread, and Birgit's aura against the sky, after the extreme expansion, was restrained back into the body again. The originally extremely powerful aura disappeared in an instant, as if it had never appeared before. This situation made Champa surprised and curious. It wasn't until he felt the sudden surge of Birgit's breath again, an incredible look appeared on his face, and at the same time, a murmur came out of his mouth. Who? Transform. Saiyan will transform. The other Saiyans will. There's no reason Birgit is so strong but not. So, have that confidence. Champa knew Birgit's plan, and the playful look on his face became serious. The strength of this chi has far surpassed any mortal he has seen before. Even Son Goku and Vegeta, who showed their brilliance at the martial arts tournament in the 7th universe not long ago, are far less powerful than Birgit. As Angel's Vados, watching the battle on the ground, even she couldn't help but be surprised by the overwhelming aura that was expanding rapidly. In the 6th universe, there is an existence stronger than Hit, she has always known this. I just didn't expect it to be so strong. Even she didn't know where Birgit's strength was at the limit, and the strength she showed at the moment was at least at the level of gods of destruction. It's unbelievable. Regardless of the transformation, Saiyan Son Goku and Vegeta of the 7th universe are far inferior to this Birgit. Vados muttered to himself. Only she could hear the words. She is Angel, with unparalleled and detached power, so she can see at a glance that she is also Saiyan, and Birgit in this state is far more than any Saiyan. Including Son Goku and Vegeta, the two who mastered the power of God in the 7th universe. And if Birgit can participate in the upcoming power conference, the 6th universe may really stand out. High in the air, with the complete stability of the golden arrogance, covering the whole body, so the Saiyan energy was completely blocked in the body. Birgette's hair stood up, like a rocket head. Transformation is complete. Blonde and blue eyes, which is the characteristic of Super Saiyan. Moreover, it transformed into Super Saiyan's first-order full-power state in one breath. The 80-fold increase of normality has raised Birgette's combat power limit to a level beyond the 9th dimension, entering the 10th dimension, reaching the 8-ditch unit. At this level, Birgette can really compete with Champa. Looking at Gods of Destruction Champa, Birgette still had the same smile on her face. The invisible collision between the breaths made the atmosphere even more eerie and quiet. As if it could explode at any time. Not bad. After the transformation, you have a little bit of ability, you can make this god pay attention. Originally, if you are obedient, you can participate in the power conference in the future to win the game for this god, you can save yourself from death. Now, you don't have this, here's your chance. No matter how strong you are, I will destroy you in the end. Champa said arrogantly. This arrogant and domineering attitude, as well as his contempt for Birgette, perfectly reflects his carefulness. In his eyes, the definition of mortals is to obey God's arrangements. The Supreme God tells you to go east, but you cannot go west. Destroy me. Are you sure that you have that ability? I have to say, at this point, Champa was still talking so fast, Birgette was amused. It is the first time that I have been threatened like this after so many years of crossing into this world. Humph, it's rude to God. You don't even know when you're about to die. If that's the case, then let you quickly feel the horror of me as Gods of Destruction. Champa lost his patience. It's not just him, of course, but Birgette too. The communication between words is enough, and it is a waste of time to continue. Almost in an instant, Birgette took the initiative to attack, teleported to Champa, and threw a heavy punch. At the moment, Champa did not expect that Birgette would not talk about Wu's sneak attack. Yes, in Champa's eyes, Birgette attacked him. He simply kept an eye on his own, otherwise, he would not be able to avoid the attack of this punch at all. After a near miss to avoid Birgette's frontal blow, Champa hadn't fought back, but Birgette's whip leg came in the opposite direction. This blow is powerful, it seems that as long as it is kicked, the body will fall apart. Stop stepping in front of me. Saiyan monkey. He raised his hand and waved, and the shock wave gathered by Gods of Destruction spread in a straight line, not only forcing Birgette, who was attacking, to retreat, but Champa also took this opportunity to find the initiative. Right. Almost instantly, Champa shot straight, and the terrifying speed, like a cannonball, could not be resisted. This fat body can be so agile, it is indeed beyond Birgette's expectations. However, this kind of direct attack will not have the slightest effect on him. After easily dodging Champa's sprinting attack, Birgette provocatively said, "Is this the strength of Gods of Destruction? It's hard to tell that you, a fat guy, can display this kind of speed." When Champa, who had stabilized his body, heard these words, he immediately started to get angry again. Obesity is his taboo. Even if Vados said him, he would be scolded by him. When mortals mention it, it is courting death. Go to hell, Saiyan monkey. Annoyed Champa raised his hand, a layer of purple flames condensed in his palm, the Gods of Destruction force was mobilized by his will. This also made Birgette serious, her eyes fixed. After all, it is the power of Gods of Destruction, and this Gods of Destruction power is converging, there is no doubt that it is to display the ability of destruction. Destroy. Exclusive to Gods of Destruction. Destroy anyone or anything in the universe. If you don't care about taking it or resisting it, you will be the one who will be unlucky in the end. Does this kind of feeling make me feel creepy even now? Interesting, let me see, how powerful is Gods of Destruction? With a certain mind, Birgette gathered her strength with all her might. Be proud, Saiyan Birgette, you are the first mortal in hundreds of years that this god really wants to destroy you. The cold words were said, accompanied by the rapid condensing of the Gods of Destruction power. In the end, a deep purple energy bullet gathered in Champa's palm. Destruction. With an incomparably cold shout, the destructive energy ball in Champa's hand shot straight out, as if locking on Birgette, moving in a straight line. The terrifying coercion is coming, and it seems that as long as it touches the slightest, it will be turned into nothingness. At this level, with a murmur, the serious Birgette raised her hand sharply. Saiyan energy was rapidly purified and condensed, rushing towards the position of the palm. This is to use one hand to block the energy ball condensed by the gods of destruction force. Champa, who saw this scene, laughed recklessly. He has seen stupid mortals, but never such stupid mortals. For Birgette's bold behavior, Champa has only 2 words to comment, that is arrogance. Pretentious guy, do you think you can stop the destruction condensed by my gods of destruction force with one hand? This is not a simple energy bomb, this is a divine force that can destroy everything including life. No matter how strong you are, as long as you touch to the slightest, you can't escape the fate of ashes. Don't even think about the soul. To be disrespectful to God, the consequence is to be completely destroyed by the power of destruction, so, if you are not so self-righteous at the beginning. Proud words came out of Champa's mouth, as if criticizing, but also as if he already knew what the outcome would be. It's just that before his words were finished, a scene that shocked him happened. Birgette, with her powerful breath, forcibly blocked the destructive energy ball in her hand, and controlled it, completely offsetting the power of destruction. How is this possible? Who the hell are you? You can actually block the destruction of this god. Cold sweat broke out on Champa's face. This is not a good thing for him. You must know that destruction is undoubtedly the most powerful means of gods of destruction. Even if he only uses a little gods of destruction power, it will not be blocked by mortals. The only explanation is that the Saiyan in front of him has more power than he perceives. What's impossible? It's just a piece of destructive energy, how can I be wiped out? Staring at Champa, feeling the power of the destruction in his hands, Birgette stood like a god of war, and the corners of her mouth twitched, and said, if you can't believe it just like this, then you are really weak. As gods of destruction, you won't have such a little strength, right? Ridiculous. And with a rhetorical tone, Champa paused for a while, not knowing how to answer. At this moment, such a scene also surprised Angel Vados, who is a melon eater. Because it was the first time she saw that there were mortals who could catch the destroyed energy ball with one hand. It's amazing. It's powerful enough to withstand the destructive energy. The 6th universe has really given birth to an amazing Saiyan. As he said, Vados shifted his attention from Birgette to Champa. This time, Champa-sama has met an opponent. It would be a good thing if he was defeated, and he won't be so lazy in the future. Only she could hear Vados' words. The other side. It's amazing, such a terrifying attack as gods of destruction contains the power to destroy everything. It was blocked by Brother Birgette's hand. I knew that Brother Birgette couldn't be as helpless as he is the strongest. What a gods of destruction, with such a stinky temper, Brother Birgette, teach the arrogant fat cat a hard lesson. Birgette easily blocked Champa's attack, which made Caulifla, who was still worried in her heart, ecstatic. Her unrestrained character made her unable to help but shout and cheer. Open mouth, but this is the nature of Caulifla, she is the kind of woman who has no scheming. Hey, Caulifla, don't say it anymore. Gabe, who was beside him, was so frightened that he hurriedly stepped forward to stop it. He clearly knows the power of gods of destruction, even if the current situation is indeed optimistic, but God knows what the final result will be. He was afraid that Caulifla would cause trouble again and be mercilessly destroyed by gods of destruction. Even though Birgette's strength has indeed exceeded his imagination, the existence of gods of destruction he can face as gods of destruction, and he still believes that Birgette will definitely lose. The image of gods of destruction in his mind was too grand. Hey, Gabe, you're annoying. Caulifla cast a contemptuous look at Gabe. This guy is simply turning his elbows out, raising the ambition of others, and destroying his own prestige. Everyone is also saying, you don't have to help cheer up, and you help the enemy to speak, you should be beaten up. Caulifla approached Gabe, and became more and more dissatisfied with him. Gabe felt at a loss for words. Gabe, you are really disappointing. As far as the situation is concerned, gods of destruction has already destroyed our planet. If it wasn't for Brother Birgette's action, all of us, including our compatriots, would all die here. In the hands of the fat cat. And you, chose to live on and on. Kai came up, his eyes full of disappointment and disdain for Gabe. Caulifla, Kelson, Gabe was even more speechless. Is he really, really wrong? The power of gods of destruction is far from what they can compete with, and he has also seen the horror of gods of destruction. He believes that only by actually seeing it will you know how terrifying gods of destruction is. Even if Brother Burgett is really strong, he may not win. There are too many differences in realms, mortals and gods are different after all. This is also true of Saiyan of the seventh universe. Only to succumb to the majesty of gods of destruction. Kel, don't worry about Gabe. It's enough for us to cheer, and we believe in Brother Burgett. Caulifla glanced at Gabe and stopped looking at him. The two also left the place under Gabe's watch, as if they didn't want to be with him. Idiots. You are all idiots. How can you know the horror of gods of destruction? If it really erupts, under the power of gods of destruction, we Sarada and our compatriots, all will cease to exist. Gabe clenched his fists. Rich inside, he seems to be worried, but in fact, he is too narcissistic. High in the air, after completely blocking the destruction, Burgett began to use her perception ability to seriously perceive the strength of gods of destruction. After in-depth exploration, I finally understood the horror of destruction. It is indeed terrifying, but his strength is enough to block the destruction of this power level. Otherwise, if the destruction is more destructive, it is not something he can block with Super 1 full power. It's like if it's just normal strength, this destruction is enough to wipe him out and kill him. So that's the case. Different from the power of gods that is obtained through ordinary cultivation, is it the ability to possess some kind of law power. It's similar to the trick I studied. Muttering to herself, Burgett's expression suddenly changed. In the next second, the palm of the hand exerted force, and with a sudden grasp, the invisible power exploded in an instant. The deep purple destructive energy ball instantly turned into particles under his power and dissipated in the space. Champa was even more shocked by the fact that the damage of gods of destruction was so easily wiped out. Okay, there is no need to use this method, unless you use more powerful destruction. Go on, the battle between us can officially begin. Burgett was ready for battle. Hearing this, Champa finally came back to his senses from the shock. Humph. Do you think you can be self-righteous if you catch the destruction I casually display? Indeed, you do have some ability to resist the power of destruction, but you can, that's all. Stronger destruction, can you resist it? The words said, Champa raised his hand again without believing in evil, and a deep purple halo appeared in his hands at the same time, and two destructive energy balls condensed by the gods of destruction force condensed and formed. Is it still the same trick? If you don't believe it, then you can give it a try. The corner of his mouth twitched, but Burgett didn't care. Once this attack was received, it was enough, and he also knew the principle of destruction. Taking the initiative to attack, bursting with energy, Burgett rushed towards Champa like a cannonball. Such an aggressive attack made Champa look grim and scolded angrily. Since you want to die so much, I will satisfy you, destroy. A thunderous roar came from Champa's mouth. In just an instant, his hands merged, and the gods of destruction power in his palms also blended together. The next second, it turned into a purple energy beam and attacked Burgett's position. It was no longer a blast of energy, but a wave of energy formed, which surprised Burgett. But in an instant, he reacted. Hee. With a chuckle, Burgett didn't stop herself, let alone dodge. Go head-to-head against the destructive energy waves of the gods of destruction. Boom. Single quote. The force of gods of destruction collided with Burgett's body, causing dazzling ripples in the space. The shock wave visible to the naked eye spreads in all directions. The shock wave brought by the huge explosion swept the world, and even because of this explosion, the planet Sarada vibrated violently. High in the air, the smoke from the explosion filled Burgett's body. What an idiot, do you think you can ignore it if you block it once? Resisting my destruction head-on, or this level, eh? Excited too early, Champa suddenly had a premonition that the crisis was coming. The smoke from the explosion in front was suddenly broken, and the blonde warrior appeared, and Burgett rushed out. Nani. Seeing that Burgett was unscathed, Champa jumped again. Accidents happen once, but never twice. The face of gods of destruction was also hit again. This is my gift to you, fat cat. Saying that, Burgett moved space to the top of Champa's head in an instant, clasped her hands together to form a warhammer, aimed at Champa's head, and dunked with all her strength. Champa subconsciously covered his head with his hands, and Burgett's hammer slammed down. Boom. A muffled sound. The roar of the body collision spread, and Champa only felt a huge force sweeping from his arms to his whole body. In the next second, his body lost control and fell from the air. Bang! The ground under his feet exploded, dented several meters by Champa's fall, and shattered directly in a radius of thousands of meters. Champa, who took the blow head-on, had white smoke rising from his arms. The slight tingling sensation also spread to his nerves. I was careless for a while. Champa's expression became much more solemn. In this universe, there is never a character who can beat himself back. Even the legendary number 1 killer, Hit, might not be able to shake him in the slightest. He was a little cautious about Birgette's presence. Over the sky. Birgette didn't want to give Champa a chance to breathe, and raised her hand, a golden halo in her palm. Dozens of golden energy bullets were released in Birgette's palm, and the intensity was comparable to a rainstorm. Seeing this rain-like energy coming towards him, Champa grinned, disdainful. Do you want to hurt me as gods of destruction with just this shoddy energy? Don't you underestimate gods of destruction? Champa roared, his voice forming a destructive shock wave, resounding throughout the planet Sarada. This sky-filled energy bomb was completely scattered by Champa's angry shout, and everyone within a 10-mile radius covered their ears involuntarily. There was no doubt that they were all affected by Champa's devastating sound. Hee. The roar stopped, and the smug smile on Champa's face grew stronger. It's not bad, it's really a pity to kill you like this. Champa slowly rose to the sky again while talking and laughing, and confronted Birgette again at the same height. The first round of temptation is over, the game is over, and now it's time to enter the second round of battle. Are you so sure that you can kill me yourself? You haven't taken any advantage so far. Birgette's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a dangerous signal in his eyes. Champa is repeatedly jumping on the edge of danger. Excessive conceit, taking Birgette as someone who can even handle himself. There is no existence in this world that cannot be destroyed by the gods of destruction, and you are the same, but luck and strength are indeed a little bit. Champa spread his hands indifferently, showing that he was invincible. Gods of destruction is amazing. What can you do to me? This is the inner portrait of Champa. There is no existence that cannot be destroyed by gods of destruction. You are too conceited to still have this kind of thinking. Today, I will break your cognition and rewrite the history that you have recognized as 100%. 3. The voice fell, and the energy in Birgette's body surged. At this time, there is no need to continue to maintain the superpower to fight. Champa's strength has skyrocketed. At this time, he has surpassed Super 1's full power. If he doesn't improve his transformation, he will be taken advantage of by Champa, or even defeated directly. The golden arrogance spewed out from the body like a tide, but it was just a blink of an eye, and the vast energy swept away in all directions. The golden hair that was soaring to the sky became more erect at this moment, and blue-white energy arcs appeared all over the body, and the momentum permeated the heart. Super Saiyan Second Order Peak. The normal 150-fold increase in combat power has raised Birgette's combat power from the limit of 8 grooves to 15 grooves. This power is nearly twice as strong as before. Has the energy increased again? Although your Saiyan's transformation method is somewhat interesting, it is not worth mentioning to the gods. Not to mention your transformation that has not even been touched by the power of the gods. Feeling Birgette's energy boost, Champa just smiled and didn't pay much attention. No more talking nonsense with Champa. Birgette maintained her Super 2 peak attitude and charged Champa at super speed. The whole body energy rhythm, close combat, directly unfold. Intensive and ferocious punches and kicks poured down on Champa's body like raindrops. In the face of this ferocious attack, Champa did not panic at all, and handled Birgette's attack with ease. In this case, Birgette couldn't take advantage of him at all. Knowing that this is a battle that can't be won at all, do you still want to resist to the end? Let you see how big the gap between mortals and gods of destruction is. With a sullen voice, a strong ominous aura emerged from Champa's body. This is the representative breath of gods of destruction, and it is also the embodiment of Champa's seriousness. In Birgette's sight, Champa's combat power value is soaring at an extremely alarming rate, skyrocketing directly all the way up to 50 dich before it stabilized. Such a terrifying power instantly overwhelmed the power of Birgette's Super Saiyan Second Order Peak. Destruction. With a cry, Champa's palm once again poured out purple-red energy, a force that was deeper than before, and the terrifying gods of destruction force was condensed and formed under the mobilization of his mind. In just a single thought, the energy ball filled with boundless destructive power escaped from Champa's palm and slammed into Burgette's body. Boom. Single quote. At the moment when the gods of destruction force collided with Burgette's body, the aftermath was violent, thick smoke filled the air, and the power of the explosion spread throughout the entire Sarada star. Such a terrifying explosion made everyone outside the battlefield open their mouths. The world view is refreshed, and the cognition is refreshed, so that all Saiyan can see it. This is the existence that can be called gods of destruction. Such is the terrifying power of gods of destruction. At this moment, there are even quite a few Saiyans who have an alternative idea in their hearts, that is, can Burgette really win this gods of destruction? This, in their opinion, is not something that mortals can resist and contend with. Smoke from the explosion blanketed the sky. This is the consequence of being self-righteous. It's a pity, your strength is indeed very strong, even Hit is much worse than you, but no matter how strong you are, if you don't obey God's orders and despise God's majesty, the result is that you will be punished. Destroy. Forget it, it's a good thing to solve you. The Saiyan family is too arrogant, and they also use you to suppress their arrogance. Sixth universe, I don't believe that I can't find a few combat powers comparable to yours. The long-winded word said that Champa believes that he has successfully destroyed a single cell of Burgette. However, reality gave him a slap in the face again. Really, am I that fragile in your eyes? Gods of destruction Champa. Burgette's low voice came from the thick smoke. Hearing this, Champa changed his face instantly, and his expression became unbelievable. In the thick smoke, Burgette's figure loomed. When the smoke completely dissipated, Burgette stood in the void with a new posture, those cold eyes, like the gaze of death, staring at Champa's eyes. The waist-length golden hair and the lowered eyebrows without eyebrows were filled with an evil and majestic aura. This is not the second level of Super Saiyan, but the third level of Super Saiyan. Has it changed again? I haven't seen this transformation, and it's not the same as those Saiyans in the 7th universe. Champa had never seen the third level of Super Saiyan, so he was also shocked by Burgette's transformation. The third order peak of Super Saiyan, the normal 600-fold increase in combat power, raised the limit of Burgette's combat power value to 60 grooves, at the same level as Champa. But Burgette understands that it's almost impossible to beat Champa, the gods of destruction, with over 3 strengths. As gods of destruction, even if he pulls his hips again, his strength is still at the 10th dimensional level. Champa's true combat strength is still unknown, but at least it is the beginning of Bago. Even, it has reached the units above Kiongo. Burgette, who is no longer hidden, intends to mobilize the divine power in her body that has not been used for a long time to continue the battle. My strength doesn't stop there, this is just the beginning, Champa. Burgette took a deep breath with a serious look. Drink. The moment the words fell, there was a sullen drink. The breath completely transformed and sublimated, the golden arrogance was restrained, and Burgette's body was instantly enveloped by a red light film. With just a dazzling effort, crimson flames emerged from Burgette's body, and the power of Super Saiyan God was released. The scorching flames instantly forced Champa back. This is no longer purely human power, but pure and powerful divine power. Nani, this guy has actually mastered the power of God. Feeling this unbelievably powerful God's power, Champa's face changed color. At present, he has only seen 2 humans who have mastered the power of God. Son Goku and Vegeta of the 7th universe. They universe, but also Saiyan who has mastered the power of God. Moreover, this divine power has thrown away the 2 Saiyans from the 7th universe. In the fiery red light, Burgette's form changed, her golden waist-length hair disappeared and returned to its normal state. Her hair, eyebrows, and pupils were all rendered red by the power from God. The scorching divine power seems to be able to burn everything, and the temperature is as high as the sun. Super Saiyan God. Super Saiyan God. He crossed the boundary in one breath, and strengthened himself with the power of God in one breath, reaching a realm far beyond the 3rd level of Super Saiyan. According to God's point of view, even if the previous Super 3 are strong, they are still only mortals, but with the power of gods, they will no longer be mere mortals after transformation. Even if it's not a real god, it's still a god. On the ground, Vados, who saw this scene, was shocked, and it was difficult to describe the emotional change at this time. Originally, Saiyan's performance in the 7th universe had surprised her greatly, thinking that it was the limit. Now, Saiyan in her own universe has also mastered the power of God, and she has mastered it so skillfully. What does this mean? This means that Saiyan is really an extraordinary species. Is this your true strength? No wonder you have the confidence to compete with Lord Champa. Originally, I just thought that your strength was amazing, but now it seems that you are more powerful than I thought. Vados muttered to himself. This is her evaluation, but also her emotion. Since the birth of the 6th universe, until now, there has never been such a strong existence as Birgit. If it is more thorough, it is that the 6th universe also gave birth to an existence beyond gods of destruction. On the other side, witnessing Birgit's transformation, all Saiyan were stunned and couldn't believe it. You know, the Saiyans here, so far the most outstanding are Gabe and Califra, they have reached the 2nd level of Super Saiyan. For the vast majority of Saiyans, there are very few who can reach the full power of the 1st level of Super Saiyan, and 90% of them maintain the realm of ordinary Super Saiyan. Not to mention Super Saiyan God, even the 3rd level of Super Saiyan is incomprehensible to all Saiyans. Unexpectedly, there is such a transformation. Brother Birgit, he really didn't fool me. Gabe was the first to sigh. He still remembered what Birgit said to him before, and frankly he didn't believe it when he heard it, because he thought it was nothing more than Birgit's pride and unwillingness to admit defeat. Now that he believed it, he also suddenly realized how stupid he was. He didn't even know why he was so stupid in the first place to question Birgit's words. Wrong. Gabe's mind has already sprouted such an idea. Not far from him, Kyle and Caulifla were thrilled. For them, the stronger Birgit was, the more reassuring they were. This is the true power of Brother Birgit. Did you see it? Gabe, what's so great about Saiyan from the 7th universe? Have you seen this transformation? Have you seen it again? Can't stop stimulating Gabe Road. They don't understand, so they don't know that Super Saiyan God is not as good as Super Saiyan Blue in terms of transformation alone. Of course, the shock was big enough, so their first opinion was that this kind of transformation was really powerful. Even Gabe, who has seen the Super Saiyan Blue color of the 7th universe, already thinks this transformation of Birgit is even more remarkable. In the sky, maintaining the posture of Super Saiyan God, Birgit has completely transformed. The 5,000 times the normal combat power has increased Birgit's combat power to 500 grooves in a straight line. This power and the blessing of the power of God seem to be only 10 times stronger than the 3rd level of Super Saiyan. But the real combat power level far exceeds the limit of 10 times. Birgit, the god of super racing, stared at Champa in front of her. In terms of strength, it can be said to completely suppress him. If Champa can't improve his strength, then Birgit doesn't even need to change the Super Blue to defeat him. In the face of Birgit in this state, Champa is still in a state of stun. This situation was unexpected for him. After going through the competition with the 7th universe, he directly believed that the Saiyan of his own universe was far inferior to the Saiyan of the 7th universe. Now that Saiyan of his own universe has also mastered the power of God, and is stronger than Son Goku and Vegeta of the 7th universe, how can this not shock him? You guy, you've been pretending to be a god since the beginning. Champa couldn't help but complained for a while after being pretended to be a pig and eating a tiger. If it was the confrontation just now, Birgit would still have a few words with him, which is completely unnecessary now. Attack, only in an instant. He didn't give Champa a chance to recover, but in the blink of an eye, Birgit turned into a fiery red streamer through the space. Instantly approaching Champa, right fist raised. This deadly sense of crisis struck, causing Champa to open his mouth and break into a cold sweat. Responding instinctively, he subconsciously folded his hands in front of his chest. After the charging blow was condensed, Birgit fainted, and the moment the attacking fist was retracted, she turned around and landed on Champa's arms with a full-strength whip. Boom! The piercing roar accompanied the sonic boom across the Great Plains. The ferocious blow shook the space, as if the world had opened up. The earth of the planet continued to vibrate, as if mourning. The fire-red divine power spread, and under this blow, ripples appeared in the space. From the naked eye alone, it seems that the space is about to be broken. In fact, it is more terrifying. If it weren't for the excellent power control, the fluctuations caused by this blow would be enough to destroy everything. Just like the original Chinese super race god, Son Goku and Beerus, if they can't control the fight, countless planets will suffer, and even universe will be destroyed because of the continuous battle between the two. Champa, who was facing the sky-defying blow, only felt an irresistible force sweeping through his body. In a sullen roar, Champa's body turned into a rapid cannonball, which broke through the atmosphere of the planet Sarada in the blink of an eye and went straight to the universe space. With one blow, Champa was thrown from the planet Sarada. This is also Birgette's plan from the beginning. If the next battle continues on the planet Sarada, it may make me very distressed. Compared to fighting on the planet, the universe is the most suitable battlefield. Birgette chuckled. The goal was achieved. Fiery red, the substantive energy of the arrogance surged, and the violent chi flew out in an instant, turning into a fiery red streamer and flying towards the periphery of the Sarada planet. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.